can kind of explain, I guess. Oh, you're going live. Okay.
Yeah. And I think we're live. Did it go through? Yep, we are live. All right, cool. So what's up, guys? How's it going? Stormspark? Ah, yes, the gay stream. What the hell? It is called We Are Early as Shit. That is what the hell. Again,
It's the way we roll.
if you guys don't remember from the last podcast, I had mentioned that I got promoted and stuff at work. So podcasts are going to be a wee bit more early, probably a lot more early, give or take the hours that I've been getting. Yeah, it is early spare because usually we don't start for another two hours, sometimes 3 hours. So yeah, we are definitely early. But that's for the better though. That's for the better because a lot of you guys have been wanting to hit us up live, and you guys haven't been able to because of the late times. A lot of our fellow night owls though have been dedicated to watching them late at night, and so they've gotten used to the late hours. Where there's a lot of you, a good majority of you, in fact, that haven't been able to watch us live. You guys usually catch us afterwards. So here you go. All right. So as you were saying, Rambo.
Oh, there's the sales, like it would kind of explain like why Sony or why Ubisoft gives Sony a lot of deals or whatever, the third party deals.
Yeah.
And let me find that again. Okay, in quarter one for 2017 to that well let's put it this way, in quarter one 2016 2017, Sony accounted for the PlayStation 4 accounted for 31% of the total Ubisoft sales, and Xbox One 23%, and PC 26%. And now in quarter one 2017 2018, they account for 44%, Xbox 22%, and PC 21%. So they actually account for more than any other platform, like more than Xbox One and PC combined. So that would kind of explain, I guess, why more of the, I guess, third party marketing rights or whatever seems to go to PlayStation here lately.
Yeah,
because I'm sure that this is the case for most of the publishers out there.
True that.
And some very interesting June numbers for MPDs.
Okay.
It seems like they're either gearing up for the Xbox One X, or people just don't really care about it as much as what they used to. PS4 for June had 382,000 consoles sold, Switch 216,000, and the Xbox One at 153,000.
Huh.
That's almost 3-1 in the United States.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unheard of for the PlayStation to be that like just killing it in the US too.
True.
Because Xbox usually has them pretty closely in the US. So I'm guessing the announcement or the upcoming release of the Xbox One X has gotten people to maybe slack off from buying the Xbox, maybe?
Maybe. I mean, it is what it is. So is Google Hangouts going to become a regular thing now? I fucking hope not. I really hope not.
Hell no, it won't. We'll figure it out.
Man, so let's get the elephant out of the way. So first off, I want to say, no matter what you say, Rambo, you're never gonna win. And the reason why I say that is because, so evidently in our last, what's up, Cyrus? Welcome, man. In our last podcast, somebody was getting into you about infrastructure data for internet usage. And it's like, now they're just coming up with whatever they can to like nitpick you, it seems like. I mean, if that's not what it is, and the guy was legit, annoyed by it, then by all means, that's him. But it almost seems like every little thing that you say, Like, you are wrong no matter what, Rambo.
I am a hated man. I'm okay with that though.
Yeah, it was here. Let me pull up the comment. I'll even lay out the dude's name because I'm not 100% sure of how serious he was, because I wasn't sure if he was just being nitpicky or trolly. But I was just kind of like, what, dude? Like, you're really going that deep into this? Like, I mean, I understand about misinformation, and I understand the annoyances of, that we have for people that spread misinformation.
Yeah, that's mainly like the thing.
But that's what his thing was. I think he was coming from that point of view of like, he's tired of misinformation being spread. I'm pulling up his comment. Here you go. I'm gonna pause that stream so that way it doesn't go through. All right, so this is by Hans Peter. It says, at Rambo, it is pretty obvious that you haven't looked at the Worldwide Infrastructure Report on Internet connectivity even once. These statistics are available every few years, and South Korea simply has begun investing in Internet infrastructure far, far earlier than many Western countries. Mostly because of esports, that is an extremely big thing over there. So yeah, you might want to look things up before talking about third or second world countries. Next time, it is embarrassing hearing it like this. I'm kind of like, okay, like I couldn't tell if he was just being overly sarcastic or what, but I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure because like we said South Korea, like the Korea, like what he said, where he said, didn't he just say South Korea?
Yeah,
we said that was like a second world country that had like better infrastructure than what we had.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if
So
you only listened to a part of what you said instead of the full thing. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people have this issue when it comes to watching this podcast, that they really don't know how to listen to the entire conversation. Nowhere were we like dissing on South Korea at all. In fact, we were saying how jealous we were about South Korea when it comes to their internet infrastructure, because the US is terrible. Like for our country versus South Korea is far more up there in the chain, and as far as internet infrastructure than we are. So like, he kind of turned it into like this weird thing. Like, I wasn't sure if he actually watched the entire thing or he just assumed that that's where the conversation was going, and so he stopped watching and then put his 2 cents in and then possibly left. I mean, you know how people
might
are.
Have, might have, because I don't know, because that didn't make any sense, because I mean, because he was kind of like arguing in favor of South Korea, but we were also arguing in favor of South Korea, so that makes no sense.
Rags is where Rags want to be. If he wants to come in, he could come in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I really could care less. So, all right. So, as far as that goes, yeah, I wasn't quite sure where that guy was coming from. Did you guys see that article that I posted about White House throws weight behind FCC's plan to overturn net neutrality?
Let me get back to the Hangout so that way I can actually see the. Did you post it in the chat in the Hangouts?
Yeah.
I'm on my phone, so I can't see.
Where's your PC at, Rambo?
In there with my granddaughter asleep, and she just went to sleep after fussing. So I'm not about to wake her up and piss my wife off. So
I think this is funny. Like, they're actually trying to like. Okay, so I'm going to read an excerpt from one of the sections of this article. Indeed, the FCC, then led by Chairman Tom Wheeler, found the power to regulate ISPs and wireless carriers by classifying broadband internet as a utility, which allowed the agency to impose and, more importantly, enforce rules prohibiting paid prioritization of internet traffic, among other things. I have never been for paid prioritization. Ever. Like, I feel that if you're paying for the internet and I'm paying for the internet, we should just have the fucking internet. There shouldn't be any of this. Well, since I'm paying less than this guy is, I should have less internet than him, even though my plan specifically says I'm supposed to have this much. But it's okay because this guy's going to have the higher end stuff. Like, I find that kind of asinine. So, I mean, but the article is kind of misleading because everybody on Twitter that read this is like, so did we win? And everybody's like, it's like a mixed bag of yes and no. So, because if you read it, it says White House throws weight behind FCC's plan to overturn net neutrality rules. So, we're not going to overturn net neutrality rules. That was sanctioned by Obama administration, which a lot of us agree with. saying, hey, you can't fuck over the users, you can't fuck over people. But the confusion is the way they worded that. So did we win or did we lose? I think it's a little bit of both. I think we're going to see a lot of the old practices the ISPs were prohibited from practicing. And it's going to have a little bit of our normal thing that we want in there, like unlimited data caps still being a thing. But they're going to be prioritized. And I think that's wrong. I don't think that's right at all. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it, but I mean, I'd like to hear a little bit more about like what that entails. Like what they're actually meaning by all that, because it doesn't seem like they give enough information that from what you read of that article for me to know for sure win or not. But It sounds kind of like what you said, kind of like both. But
yeah, I think this is definitely a little bit of a both situation.
Well, Halo Storm, your mom is so poor when she's walking down the street with one shoe and someone asks her if she lost her shoe, she says, no, I found one.
Oh! Unlikely the Pi company will change course. FCC have recently refused to release text for more than 40,000 net neutrality complaints. Oh, all right. So the topic of net neutrality, and more specifically how the rules are currently enforced, is not controversial. It is a partisan issue. This is important because even though the FCC has received millions of comments on the matter, many of which are in support of current regulations, it is unlikely that PAI, and companies will change, of course. The FCC even recently refused to release text more than 40,000 net neutrality complaints. And sure, there have been various protests, such as the Day of Action event that took place last week, but they simply aren't having much visible effect. It sounds like to me, and in the long run, we probably lost this.
not good.
Because if you think about it, I mean, I know the FCC wanted to kind of fuck us on net neutrality, and then these guys are like, no, we're not going to let you fuck them all the way. You're just going to get fucked half the way.
Just a tip.
Just a tip. It's like, yeah, right? Like, because I actually, I mean, everybody and their brother was against net neutrality when it first reared its ugly head through the Obama administration. And then we found out it wasn't really something that was against us. It was, in fact, for us. And we thought the way all these press sites were, pushing it, it was like some antichrist for the internet, that we would never actually see the outlining borders of our country's infrastructure like they do in China. So everybody was under this huge assumption that net neutrality was a bad thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I remember reading into it, and it was actually more of a good thing than it was a bad thing. In fact, this was actually regulating the fucking ISPs, telling them, hey, stop fucking your customers over and start updating your infrastructure, or just lose your business. Pick one. And now it seems like, okay, well, you guys don't need to actually lose your business. You don't need to actually upgrade right now. But in the very least, line our pockets. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like right now, reading this article. It's the way they word the article is very misleading, because Reith, like, as soon as he posted this on Twitter, he was like, hey, the internet's saved. And I'm like, what? But I read the article, and I kind of got happy about it, right? Because I know of all the new things that they were trying to do. And so I read down, and I'm like, wait a second, this isn't good. This isn't the best thing that could have ever actually happened when it comes to net neutrality. Like, what the fuck? How the hell? Yeah. I mean, Shay, what do you think about net neutrality and just what it's done so far versus where this article might take us?
I would be okay with a lot of it if they would just outlaw DSL and most, if not all, slower connections and put decent connections everywhere.
Yeah, I agree with that. There definitely should be a massive upgrade, because a lot of those DSL companies, like Dish Network, is still a DSL ISP. And they're not forced to upgrade, so they won't upgrade. They're hanging on by a thread right now. And if anything, they're harassing people to stay with them. In fact, I've gotten my 16th letter from them saying that they were willing to give us this, and this, and this for a year if we get our dish back. And I'm just like, I really am not in the mood for your guys' bullshit. I will stick to Netflix. I will stick to my Hulu and my Amazon Prime. Thank you very much. I pay far less for those every year than I ever would on Dish Network, and that's just a fact.
And they stay connected. So because one thing
Yeah.
about Dish Network is you're not always guaranteed to watch TV. So you're guaranteed to pay for it.
Yeah, so I thought that was weird.
Like the best thing about cable out here right now is if you sign up for a certain package, you get like a like a $300 Visa gift card, and the bill is like $20-something a month.
Yeah,
I mean, so shit.
they're really trying. They're really
That's how they suck you in.
Well, if it's $20 a month and you sign a year contract, what you would pay $240 for the entire year, but you'd get a $300 Visa card, so it's a $60 profit. I mean,
yeah. The only problem is that most of the time after that year, it's harder to cancel. Like it's harder for you to either remember to cancel or want to cancel after that because of the fact of you become so used to it being there, and you don't, so that's
just
how they
cancel
kind of
the old-fashioned redneck way. Just don't fucking pay it.
Yeah, there you go. There's one way.
The old-fashioned redneck way. I love it.
That's what my grandpa did when they wouldn't cancel his Dish Network once upon a time. He's like, well, fuck it. You're not getting no more of my money. And then he had cable installed in his house.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, he was like straight up, fuck all of you. Watch this. That is hilarious. All right, so there's some gaming news, believe it or not. Yes, for once, we're going to actually have something to do with games for once. All right, so they already have good old articles over at GameSpot about Destiny 2's subclass, two subclasses, in fact, two subclass skills. They have that. I'm just going down the list of the new articles they've posted within the last 24 hours, and it is a lot, dude. GameSpot has been fucking killing it. So they've already got the ammo shortage will be addressed in the full game for Destiny 2. I guess during the beta there was a massive problem with it.
With the special weapon, yeah, or the secondary weapon.
Okay, so did you actually play the beta for that, Rambo?
Oh yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, I liked it. It was a lot better than the first one. I think there was actually more story in it was actually just the opening mission that you get for the story wise, and then you get to go to do a strike, and then you get the competitive multiplayer, and then you get the kind of like Trials of Osiris type of multiplayer where if you get killed, you're killed. It was actually there was more story in that one mission than there was in the entire package of Destiny 1. So it was it looked beautiful. It played well. There was a couple of everybody got every one of your classes, I guess, your warlock, your hunter, and your titan each got to get a exotic, through this mission. And overall, the hand cannon, the exotic hand cannon for the hunter was actually the best because it's overpowered. It seems like it's overpowered. A couple of shots to the head and they die, where the other ones are kind of like a grenade. I think it's maybe a grenade launcher and like a machine gun, and neither one of them really seemed to me like they did that much damage or whatever. But I really like the hand cannon. Overall, it seems like it feels the same. Feels the same. Destiny. The characters, they've added a lot. The Cabal's there, but they've added more types of Cabals.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all played before. Like whenever you played with the Cabal, there was these little scions that would come and shoot some like electricity out of them. Well, these things are now like more, I guess, normal size, like human size, and they have like a sniper rifle on them. So they'll have like a laser pointed at you, and then they'll shoot, and it'll take quite a bit of health off of you if they hit you. And so far, it seems like they've done it like a really revamp of the people you're fighting against. They're not just the Cabal aren't just stupid like they were before, kind of just and just kind of running at you. They actually have flamethrower ones. They have ones with blades on their arms where they kind of just swing at you, or hatchets or whatever. They kind of chop you up.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a pretty good job with it. I'm really looking forward to the actual story to see see how much more in depth it goes.
All right.
But definitely worth picking up. I would definitely pick it up. For all of y'all Destiny haters up there, it's the best game ever. And
Hey,
that's not misinformation. That's fact.
Welcome, Titanfall. How are you doing tonight? Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, awesome. I'm glad people are being nice to her. So Destiny 2 is obviously going to be a win for you.
Oh yeah, man! I cannot wait. There's I don't know if people are familiar with it, but on Destiny 1, the warlocks had like what they call a Nova Bomb.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, now they have it to where if you get the Nova Bomb, like whenever your Nova Bomb comes, you throw it, and it tracks the people. So like this big huge Nova, you can see this big huge ball of whatever the hell Nova juice or whatever the hell it is in that bomb. They threw it in the multiplayer match, and like it found a player, and then that player jumped and then ran into the other area of the map, and that thing was still following him.
Mm-hmm.
That thing followed him for like it seemed like 2 minutes. Like he just had to keep running from it. I'm glad to see that.
Nice. What about you, Shane? Are you going to be a Destiny 2 fan? Are you going to be hardcore? Does it get your dick hard?
I don't know about all that. Last time I played Destiny was vanilla Destiny. So if it's a giant improvement from that, I'll give it a shot.
Come on,
well,
bro.
the beta is. I don't know about the game yet, but the beta is. From beta to beta is what I'm comparing.
So the beta for 2 is like leaps and bounds ahead of the beta was for 1?
I think so. I mean, as far as like the overall quality, you could tell they reused some areas from the first one, but they didn't just like reuse them. Where I know if you played anything in Destiny, you would play a mission, and then you would go do another mission. You're basically doing the exact same mission, just in reverse. Well, this one is like where you could tell that you were still in the same type of area, but they added a bunch of different things to it, like a big, huge, like gears running around, grinding up the ground and stuff like that. So, I mean, it made the area look completely different, but yeah, you could still it has a resemblance of what it used to be. So, it really fit along the lines of the Cabal coming down and trying to take over the area, and they were revamping the area to their liking and stuff. So it was understandable that they had to reuse some of the maps, but the way they did it, it's not like they just reused it generically. They actually added a bunch of stuff to it, and to me, it's definitely from night and day from the very first beta that we played.
Well, it would all be new to me. It's been so long since long.
It goes. I think it goes live. If I'm not mistaken, it goes live. I think on the 21st for everybody. Like anybody can download the beta and play it. So I suggest downloading it and giving it a try and see what you think.
Yeah, definitely.
So in other words, you're gay.
What's today? No, Thursday. No, Wednesday. Nope, not today.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's not that day yet? Oh, okay. All right.
No. But that's only I'm only gay on Thursdays and Saturdays, so I mean,
yeah.
See, Rambo, I thought you were gay on any day that ended in a Y. I mean,
no, I had to cut back.
Yeah.
I did just have Jamie or Gamer Dragon in my house for 2 nights. I think I've had enough gay.
What he's not telling you, well, I'll let him tell you whenever he has the balls to say it.
I'm not telling you. No, that's no. Nope. I know what you're saying.
So what are you denying, Shane?
I'm not denying anything.
Oh, no. Are you sure? Sounds like somebody's in denial to me. I'm just saying.
He was here 2 nights, and my butthole does not hurt, so we're good.
Who said anything about a butthole hurting?
I know that's what you're getting at.
Right, like no one's saying anything about your butthole, dude. It's almost like it sounds like you're guilty of something, dude. It's all right.
This is how it always starts. Last time he did this, it was Shane said you don't have the balls to send him a dick pic. Next thing you know, I got 2 of them.
They're his wallpaper. He doesn't want to admit this. Come on, bro.
Oh, Doom's multiplayer or season pass was made free today.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Wait,
the
what?
DLC. Yeah, the DLC. There's DLC was made free today for Doom. Yeah.
The game is also
And
only
I think-
$15 now.
I think that is actually like, to me, if I was one of the ones that actually purchased the season pass, I'd be pissed.
I don't know. I think I would have been happy with it regardless because I mean either way you're supporting the devs of that game and those guys did a really good job. So
Not with the multiplayer. I mean, the multiplayer was just okay, but like
the multiplayer.
the game itself was great.
Yeah. The game. Yeah, that's what. That's kind of what I was leaning towards that. Not so much the player side. Yeah.
But I just think I think it's wrong to like ask people to pay for the season pass and everybody, the people that pay for it, and then they all of a sudden say, oh, well, now everybody gets it for free and they've already got your money for like, I don't know. It just seems like it's either should be free from the get-go or not, that one or the other, like it shouldn't, or maybe like 2 years down the road or something like that, then make it free, like after, like, to make people want to go back and play it again because, more maps became free for them.
Mm-hmm.
But not so soon to where the people that paid for it end up kind of like being screwed out of their money. It's kind of hard. It's kind of weird to hate against something free. So I mean, it's one of those things.
Yeah, I see your point. Shut up, Mighty Blue. He says Fortnite releasing tomorrow. What is your opinion? And I'm just gonna say I'll try it. I was hyped for it, but it's been so long since we've heard anything about it that I just don't care anymore.
Fortnite, man, to me, like I was kind of like Brim, like when they showed it off, I was kind of excited about it, but now so many things have came out that kind of resemble it. Since then, it's kind of like
it's hard to be happy for it. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a miss because I mean they waited so long. If they would have actually released and ahead of all these other ones, I think they would have been great. But I think it's just going to be overshadowed by other great games.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like I was all for it.
I mean, I'll play it, but
yeah, I'll still play it too. But like, I mean, at first I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be great. Yeah, this is gonna be a great game." And then all these years pass, and I'm just like, I've lost interest. It's like I was hyped, and then I was hopeful, and then I was just like, okay, I could care less at this moment. I've been playing everything else, really. But on another note. Let's see. Let's go back to the articles. What else? What was I gonna say? Oh, Nintendo Switch Online app requires your phone to be unlocked to use voice chat. Hey guys, how about that?
Fuck Nintendo, man.
Oh boy. So
Nintendo's just done lost in the sauce, man.
They are fucking stupid. They are stupid. There is nothing anybody could say to justify this reasoning behind this. In fact, let me click on the link real quick. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. In Splatoon 2, the instance has no built-in chat. This is irksome players. Blah, blah, blah. Despite the problem with this goddamn ads. With this app, Splatoon 2 has been well received by critics. Single player and okay. Yep, I don't see any proper reason why this should be a thing.
I mean, we all know that their first thing, Pokemon Go, drains the hell out of your battery. But this thing actually said it's going to drain your battery as well, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it's going to, like, put a drain on your battery because it's an app opening and running. But, my question is how fast and how bad will it drain it?
Okay, so here's the stipulation for you using this. It says, and this is, I'm reading it right now. This is what it says. It says, voice chat, for instance, requires that your phone to be unlocked with the app running. This means that you can't start chatting and then lock your phone and throw it in your pocket, as is possible with phone calls and other voice chat services. Instead, you'll have to leave your screen on the whole time, which uses a lot more battery. You also can't switch out of the app to text or check something on the internet, or chat will be cut off. What kind of...
Yeah, it said though, the one thing I did notice about that is that, like, if you call me while I'm in the middle of a voice chat on Nintendo, which will never happen, But if that was ever to happen, I could go answer the phone call, and as long as that match was still going on, when I ended the phone call, it would jump back right where I was, like in that same part, in that same chat. So it would keep my place in there, but yet, like you said, I mean, you can't do multiple things at one time, which is completely
asinine.
like it goes against the whole idea of a mobile phone.
Come on, bro. It's a Switch. It's a great thing. We should just go ahead and buy this because why not?
Somebody was trying to defend.
And you're not being held hostage saying that, right? Like it sounds.
No, not at all.
Somebody was trying to defend their practice, though. Like they're Splatoon 2. If you disconnect too many times, they're going to ban you or lock you out of the game.
What?
And so, yeah, like you know how kind of like if you like for rage quitters, you know how they end up getting banned. Like I think Overwatch does it. I think if you
eventually,
but the thing is though is that people were like going, other games do it, man. This is no big deal, no big deal. I'm like going, but this is a Switch. It's a mobile device, so you're connecting to mobile internet, which is definitely damn sure not as reliable as your home network. So you're more likely to stay connected if you was at home, but if you're on the go, you're more likely to be disconnected randomly.
Yes, Shaq. Yes, you have to keep the app open, but you're not allowed to have the lock screen on your phone. So in other words, if you were to run the app, it is not allowed to fall asleep at all. You have to actually keep it on.
So does your phone have to have service for this, or can it be like an old phone you throw on Wi-Fi?
You can be an old phone that you throw on Wi-Fi. You don't need to have service for it.
Get a few USB extensions then for a couple of bucks and just have that shit plugged in constantly.
Come on, bro. You know that's a pain in the ass.
It is.
I was gonna say, if you're on the go, man, your phone's gonna get hot as hell staying open the whole time.
I don't know. Playing Nintendo Switch on the go, you're gonna look like a fucking like wannabe, like maybe trying to discover time travel type person walking down the street with all the wires and lights.
Trying to discover.
It's gonna be horrible. I mean.
Oh my gosh, I don't know, man.
Yes, I have no problem with the games that they're bringing and stuff like that. It's just that when it comes to this is like unheard of. Like my limit
though. This is right at my limit. Like this is why I will not buy a Switch. Yeah.
Have you seen like somebody actually has one of these things hooked up, that little thing with the arrow, and like it's got. I mean, it's good. It takes up his whole desk with all the different wires, attachments, and everything else to it, just to play online.
That's nuts.
Yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's so cheesy that they got to go this far for this because they've got so many loyal fans that are just like, hey, you know what? We'll forgive you guys. Let's just move forward. And then they continue to do it all the way down the line. Hey guys, we're gonna fuck you. It's all right, guys. We got you. Let's
seriously.
It's all they do.
Should be cheaper. You have to work to play this fucking thing.
By the time I'm done setting up this chat app and the fucking Nintendo account and all this other shit, I could have gone through like the first 2 levels of one of my games on that platform. Like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, Halo. I think the Switch might be worth the money as far as because they're bringing, plenty of like exclusives to their platform or whatever this year. But I would never buy it to play online. That's for damn sure. That would not be happening.
But why not?
There in a way, I'm not hooking up 42 wires to play online.
But why not?
Yeah.
Don't you know that's the thing you're supposed to do? Gosh.
Yeah, Cyrus, I was kind of hoping that was what they were going to announce at E3 was like a handheld PS4 type, like PS4, like what they call PS4 Go, where you could just take the PS4 like handheld with you and play that. I would have bought that day one.
And this is what happens when you're hopeful and you're gay. See? You get damned and fucked all at the same time.
Not until tomorrow. It would have had to. It would have had to come out on Thursday for me to get fucked.
Oh, jeez. And let's see. Is there anything other newsworthy that I could just look at this basic site on? Oh yeah, that's right. So I think anybody that has an Xbox would be interested in this. So they're having what they call the Creators Collection, and in other words, think of it as Steam Greenlight, but for Xbox users. All right, Rambo. Good, Rambo. Get your head out of the way. Go ahead. We'll let you go first.
Well, I mean, we all know Life of the Black Tiger on PS4, right? Y'all are gonna have a shit ton of black tigers on y'all's damn system with that, because there's like the one thing with Xbox is it doesn't require any sort of approval. You can actually post it to the store without Microsoft saying yes. So there's gonna be a lot of shovelware on there with that. Well, I mean, to be fair, I guess since only like 12 people own an Xbox, there won't be that much shovelware.
Hey now, Loading Screen Simulator just came out on Steam, and that was like, a super indie game. It's not bad.
Moving Screen Simulator?
Loading Screen.
Oh, damn.
And it's free.
Yeah, I would imagine.
You know what, Rambo? I don't like your attitude.
I think it's a great idea, but it's dangerous with their policy of no approvals needed. I love the idea of being able, like getting just like independent developers to be able to create and put games out there.
Yeah.
But there's going to be somebody out there that, like, people out there that's creating that shit ass shovelware games and fucking everybody over.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be funny, dude. Are these like this Xbox community? They're gonna be trying to hype up everybody else's game because they know the person that's making the game. So they're gonna be like, "This is gonna be the best game ever. This is gonna be the best game ever. This is gonna be the best game ever." But don't worry, guys, we won't buy it.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to watch all the Twitter conversations about. Rand's making a game, man. This is gonna be the best game, man. Rand made it. You know it's gonna be good, and now nobody ever buys it. It just sits there.
It's gonna be a rare achievement to boot up the game.
What's sad is that, like, on Xbox, I think you could give away the games for free, and they still have fucking rare achievements.
We know about rare achievements, don't we, Shane?
Oh yeah. Well, Killer Instinct is free, and we live streamed that just a couple of days ago. And while my 8-year-old daughter was playing it, she was unlocking rare achievements.
Yeah, I don't understand the people on the Xbox. I really don't. I mean, it blows my mind. Like, whenever I was playing some exclusives the other day, like, just rare achievements were popping up for me playing through the game, and I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, this is not like, does nobody buy games on Xbox, or do they not play them?
Kind of
yes.
both.
I was just gonna say yes. That's it.
They're just like hoarders. Like, did they just buy them and like, okay, well, at least I got it now. So, I mean, if somebody says you didn't buy that game, I can say yes, I did. Just didn't play it.
Well, I can't totally knock on those kind of people because I like purposely build up like a catalog for rainy day.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. I mean, because you play your games.
Yeah.
But whenever everybody's building up that rainy day catalog and it never fucking rains. Well, then it kind of just becomes a catalog at that point, because these people are like, it's really weird. Hey, Halo Storm, rare achievements are just not common. That's why they're called rare achievements. Hey, Halo,
bro,
beating chapter 2 of a game should not be fucking rare.
Halo, bro. Like, I'm just gonna say this. I love my Xbox, but dude, when I see this 8-year-old little girl play one character that me and Shane have played, right? And she gets a rare achievement for a very basic thing. I mean, I'm just saying it's basic. That's all I gotta really say. I mean, rare achievements used to mean something back in the day, like. Remember when achievements first came around for Xbox, bro? Like, it was because you did something ridiculous, right? Like, it was some hard ass shit that you did, doing a triple barrel roll and unloading your clips and not getting hit once. Used to be a thing. Now, like, these rare achievements is like, oh, you threw 20 punches with this character. Rare achievement. Like, that's kind of
it's not a joke.
That's kind of a thing.
That's what we're seeing, and that's the sad part is that, I mean, I don't mind. I understand like rare achievements being rare, but playing the game just normal, like as anybody should, and not doing anything special in the game, getting you rare achievements, and the game's 2 or 3 years old, there's a problem.
Bro, booting up Quantum Break when you first turn on, you got the startup achievement, and it was rare. Like,
Jesus,
just throwing that out there. Going in through the prologue, I think, is the achievement you get. It's like going through the full intro and everything, and that shit was rare. Like, come on. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
I mean, it's just sad.
Don't shit on your entire fan base. What are you talking about? I'm not shitting on the entire fan base. I'm only shitting on the entire YouTube fan base. There's a difference.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as the fan base of Xbox, there's no way to tell like what they play and what they don't play. But overall,
yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Halo. Like I said, dude, I like the Xbox too. So it's not just your fan base.
They're the Xbox guys. They're the Xbox guys here. I just do it for the. So I mean,
he just talks shit to for the lols on us, but
yeah.
I mean, come on, Halo. You should know I'm an Xbox guy. I mean, well, fuck, we were talking about Halo all night the other night. I mean, I'm just saying, as a fellow Xbox guy who sees the YouTube community get retarded in the videos and saying how great these games are, but then you go into these games and it's like all these achievements are rare, all of them, and almost all of them are rare. It's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Even some of the basic achievements that go all the way back as far as Forza Horizon 2 are ridiculously rare. Like, I'm just like, come on.
It's weird. I mean, I feel like the whole YouTube community and Twitter community like praised Quantum Break, and they praised Sunset Overdrive, hype both of those up.
Both
but
great games.
Yeah, but they're both great games. Well, Quantum Break, yeah.
like.
But we looked up the achievement, the percentage of people who own Quantum Break, and the percentage of people who own Sunset Overdrive who have booted the game up and have actually beat the game was actually less of a percentage than the people who actually platinumed Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's where you have to do actually extra things than just beat the game. So it was a shocking thing, because it's weird to see the rare achievements for just normal everyday playing.
Well, what I understand is people they hype up Forza, like they say, oh, it's the greatest game ever. And it is, as far as I'm concerned, greatest racer ever. But finding every damn road in the game, when you have a map that shows you all the fucking roads, should not be a rare achievement.
Well, I'm sorry, but that Forza Horizon 2, I have every road besides one. And my whole entire map is lit up. Like I've looked at the map and there's not a single gray area on there. So
you just have astigmatism. That's all. You're blind.
There has to be it's like going, motherfucker, you're just old. Like that. I need my kids to come in and like, oh, what road am I missing? Damn it.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Because it's pissing me off.
Yep, that's what you need to do. Stop being a faggot already and go do it already, huh? Jeez.
But yeah, Forza Horizon is definitely one of the greatest open world racers for sure.
Yeah.
So as a track racer, what do you guys think? Do you think Forza 7 is going to pull it off, or do you think Turismo is going to pull it off? I'm hoping they both. I hope they both do good. Honestly,
they'll both do well. Turismo will sell a whole hell of a lot more than Forza will, because the fan base for Gran Turismo is like unreal. And they actually go out and buy the game, unlike the people that like to talk about Forza's great looks on Twitter because of these 4K screenshots, but never buy it. But Forza, I think Forza will end up being the better racer. Actually, the better racer, but yet it'll sell fewer than Gran Turismo. If that makes sense, because Gran Turismo, if you look back at Gran Turismo, the shitty game that launched like right before the PS4 came out, I think still sold 8 million.
Yeah, but it was like there's a difference between 8 million sold and 8 million people that actually like the game. In fact,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why I say that.
Yeah,
I think Forza will be the better game, Except I just think that Gran Turismo will pull out the sales numbers. Like it'll sell a hell of a lot more
sales
than
numbers,
Forza.
yeah, no doubt. The sales numbers will definitely kick Forza in the teeth, but
Because if you look at Forza's history, they don't really sell that many copies of it. I mean, like a million to 2 million each time. But if you look at Gran Turismo, which is good, yeah. But if you look at Gran Turismo, you're looking at 8 to 14 million each time.
With only like 1 million people liking it.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's. But the older Gran Turismos, like there were, if GT Sport, obviously it doesn't have all the cars that the older ones did, but if GT Sport, as far as mechanics and everything else, goes back to like they were back in the early Gran Turismo days, like those type of mechanics, then Gran Turismo will actually win out in the better game. I think. I personally, I mean, like the number of cars in the game don't bother me. Like I've never used every car in the Forza game. I just collect the one that I want or the ones that I want to drive, and that's the only ones I drive. I don't ever fuck with the other ones.
I agree with that.
Oh, Storm Spark Project Cars. Yeah, okay.
Fuck that game. I think that game is fucking terrible.
That game
I can't believe they're making a number 2. Who the fuck wanted that?
They didn't even fix all of the shit that was wrong with the first one, right? Like they were
said that the Xbox One X was gonna. Yeah, because it runs like shit still.
So why the fuck would I want to go out and buy the second one if they can't even fix the first one?
Don't ask me. It still runs at less than 60 frames per second. I think it like hits around 42. It goes from like 50 to 42 to 30 to back to 50, 55, 42, and I'm like, that's trash, man.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid is what it is. I bet you there's people out there defending that shit too.
Well, people are saying that Project Cars 2 is going to run the best on Xbox One X. I'm like going, yeah, like at maybe 43 frames per second. Like, who cares? Like, nobody's going to buy it. I mean, I don't give a shit like where it runs better. I think it even ran like shit on PC too, didn't it?
Yeah, it ran like a lot of people. That was one of those games that people were like, "Oh, I got a 980. I'll just go ahead and power through all the issues."
Nope.
Not on that game. You didn't, because that game fucking sucked.
The free version on PC still don't run right. The textures suck.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's hyping Project Cars. I'm just gonna call you a fucking retarded gamer. That's just because.
And the crew, they're making a second one of that.
Who the hell asked for? I want to slap whoever asked for that one.
Yo, seriously, like the crew had like tons of bugs. Did you see the ones that were posted on the Xbox Live friend feeds? Like some of those bugs, dude. Like the guy was like racing under the map and he won all of his matches.
Yeah, that game was trash.
Like come on.
And Cyrus, there's one thing. It's one thing. Like, and you might. I mean, I get it. I mean, some people just can't tell the difference. I mean, like some people just can't. But there's one thing, like if the game, like a Project Car, stayed at 42 frames per second the whole time, you wouldn't be able to tell as much. But with the game going from 50 to 30 to 42 to 50 to 55, back and forth, you'll be able to tell because it'll make a juddering in like a stuttering in the screen, like. So you're able to tell on that.
And if you don't remember what that's like, all I gotta say is go revisit the PlayStation 2 version of Dynasty Warriors 3 and then come back to me. Because that's
go play Deadpool Remastered.
Exactly.
You'll know exactly what it's like.
Isn't that like Shane's #1 game in the world though? Like that's his game of the year, isn't it?
I love that game. That's for sure.
Man, I got to the fucking elevators and I had to turn that shit off. I was gonna break my fucking PlayStation and my Xbox. I owned it on both, and both of them were trash. Like
disconnect your system completely from the internet and then play it. You should be good.
Yeah, like take your system back to 1992 and you're good.
No, see, because what it's doing is it's pinging off Activision servers. That's why it lags. It's fucking stupid, but
why the fuck would they do why would they do an online connectivity requirement for a single player game again? I will never understand that.
I don't know. And yeah, there's no reason that game even needs the online connection at all.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking lame. Roblox Bleach Edition Storm. I knew you were a black guy. I knew it. I just knew it.
Achievements? Question mark. What about achievements?
Spud Nova. That's up to you. I don't care either way. Oh, okay, she's talking to somebody.
Okay, Spud. Let me address Spud real quick. Spud. The fact. I mean, his opinion. Okay, his opinion that he can't tell the difference between 40 and 60 frames per second isn't. It doesn't have to hold water. That's his own personal opinion. If he's I don't see him in the comment section saying that nobody can tell the difference between 40 and 60. He said he couldn't. I'm trying to tell or trying to explain or prove that he couldn't tell the difference. So I mean, just it's the devil's in the details of what people say. Like, people just don't read the whole thing. That was my whole point of my damn video that I had to do, or my little live stream thing I had to do on Sunday.
Yeah, you did a video recently. I didn't get to watch it, but what was that about?
Oh God, man. Oh, what's his name? What's that dirty Mexican's name that we have on our podcast sometimes?
Oh, Fratanga.
Fratanga.
My grass is getting longer again.
He started talking. It was so he does his thing where he gets in his little talking points, and he just can't seem to hop out of them. And he wants to be right so bad that, like, he just can't ever see when he's wrong. And like somebody, I guess, said that somebody had made a post that said, you know, they thought Xbox fanboys are bad, but PC elitists might actually be worse because of like what this PC elitist like typed in his comment section for his YouTube. And Fratanga quoted him and said, "Oh no, console fanboys are, you know, like bad." And we said, "How?" And he said, "Well, they're a danger to our hobby." And he never explained that, like how they were. Like then he started delving into paying online and all this other crap about PC being better than console. And we were like, "But it's like your opinion, yeah. I mean, yeah, it is." And he was like, "No, they're objectively better." And I was like, "No, they're not." I said, and he was, I guess they were like, him and everybody, like his followers, were taking it as me saying that consoles were better. And I kept telling these people, like, the problem is the word objectivity. I was like, y'all don't understand it. And I said, that's the problem, is y'all think y'all are cool because y'all get to say objectively, but y'all don't understand what you're saying. It's not absolute. I said, for you to say I had to do this video because people were mixing my words on Twitter.
Yeah,
I was like,
to do that. Yeah.
For you to say console or PCs are objectively better, gaming PCs are objectively better than modern day consoles. Well, that means that you have to take the lowest end fucking gaming PC all the way to the highest end gaming PC, and every single one of those have to be better than the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and that's not the case, because there's some gaming laptops that cannot run a game better than the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. I said, but I said, y'all don't understand like the objectivity. Well, you can upgrade it. I said, well, if you upgrade it, you're using your own personal, influence into the decision because you're picking out the parts. I said, so therefore it becomes subjective. It cannot be objective because you're using your personal influence. And oh damn, these people are they're so, even for Tenga, he's just like so stuck in this.
Well, English is his second language, right?
Apparently. Yeah, I think that him and now the Scottish guy that I guess is on this podcast, and even somebody else, I think Stonesy actually, from talking to you, Brim, me and you.
Yeah.
Stonesy was on the podcast. He's like, well, they're really not, because like he understood the word objectively from his debate with Cyrus.
That's my boy.
But the rest of them were all like still going, it's objectively better. And then all of a sudden after that podcast, I started getting inundated with all of his followers that were watching it, like trying to tell me, because he was reading my tweets over on the thing, but he wouldn't let me in the call. He was on the podcast. He was reading my tweets, but only reading them instead of reading the string of tweets where the reply came from, he was just reading one reply. And I was like, let me in there to explain that reply. And he's like, well, no, you can't come in. It'll crash. But then he ended up letting somebody else in the podcast. I'm like, that's just kind of wrong. You're like talking about me.
Well,
And you're not letting me in there.
That is actually kind of crap considering we let him in ours all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, that's kind of a dick. That's kind of a dick move, man. Yeah, Cyrus, whenever I watched your debate with, I think Stonesy and I want to say, was it Go Get?
I can't remember. Yeah, it's been a while.
Stonesy and somebody else, but I remember watching that debate, and it was so painful to watch what you were doing to them. It was just like they're not getting it, no matter what they do.
He has it now, though. That's all that matters.
Yeah, Stonesy actually did listen.
He gets it. Yeah.
And he gets it. It's all the devil in the details, like that damn word objectively. They just look at a portion of the definition and they're like, got it, understand it. No, you don't. There's nothing in life there's very, very few things in life that are absolute.
Yeah.
And people just don't quite understand that. No, Go Get It might not have been you. Yeah, me too, Cyrus. I like those guys too. Like they're really good guys, and they actually learned from that experience, which was very, very rare, I guess, these days in YouTube world. They people tend to leave that experience and go, I killed him. I know I did. I was right. And then but no, they actually listened and learned. So that was actually a really good thing. It was quite entertaining to watch, though, Cyrus. I can tell you that.
Only reason why Fertanga probably wouldn't let you in because he came to the realization that our podcast gets more views when it's not even live than he does when it is live. So I'm just saying. Like, well, I know they were talking shit on Twitter, and he was just kind of trolling me. So like, I just wanted to get my little nudge in there.
Yeah, well, whenever people ask like who's Rambo, Brimstones, and Geek Essentials, like people know, but whenever they ask like who's Fertanga, they're like, what? I was like, is that some kind of fruit or something, or like what?
It's a rare Mexican kind of form of a mango, I think.
Yeah.
It's like a dragon fruit, but Spanish. But it's funny.
Today, in my view, desktop PCs, not laptops and not AIO, are better than consoles connected to the same HDMI TV or the same HD. Well, see, I mean, that's okay. I mean, you can have that opinion, but you're not. I mean, you're not saying anything wrong by having that opinion.
Right.
I mean, like I said, it's all the devil in the details. I never said that one was better than the other, but people were misunderstanding like what I was saying, like that I was defending consoles. But I'm like, I've never once, if you look back through all my tweets, I've never once said one's better than the other.
It's all a matter of recognize it's an opinion.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
I think, and that's a huge thing that people always seem to overstep. They always like to think that their opinions are 100% accurate. When it comes to an opinion, it's like you can't really make an opinion accurate. That's the whole point of an opinion. It's based off of your own perspective. Your perspective may not align with somebody else's perspective, and this is what social excuse me, sorry, I'm drinking beer. Basic social I don't know, whatever you want to call it, awareness, I guess, understanding. That's where this comes from, and a lot of these guys don't have that. Even me and Fertanga have gotten back and forth on politics on his old podcast with True Scottish Guy, and like by the end of that whole conversation, he finally saw where I was coming from, because at the beginning he used to say what a lot of other people were saying about, if you voted for Trump, you're part of the problem. You know what I mean? So. But by the end of that, he finally understood where I was coming from. And then he was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. He backtracked. He was like, okay, I get it. So he's not exactly above reproach, but I do like to get my little nudges on that little Mexican every now and then.
Even if you just have common sense and a basic understanding of the English language, you'd be okay.
Common sense? How do you spell that?
It's very rare on YouTube and YouTube and Twitter. Like common sense just kind of goes out the window.
Trust me, Dromain, I don't want to use Hangouts. I'm using Hangouts because there's an internet outage in our area and it sucks. If I use OBS, it's going to drop my connection.
Me and Go Get this talk about like common sense and lack of self-awareness. Not, you know who Notch is, right?
Yeah.
The guy who created Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like tweeted out like one morning. He said, I think it was the other morning. He said, just your daily reminder that SJWs are shit. And that's all he said. And that, like there was like 45,000 replies. I feel sorry for his fucking mentions because like that just had to kill.
I bet you that killed his phone.
Yeah, I bet he just probably turned it like muted he had to mute the conversation. He had to because it was nuts. And there was one person there talking about how SJWs are the greatest, and I'm like, no, I made the mistake of replying to one, and oh god, they got 3 or 4 of them on me, and then they started talking about like trans people and their feelings, and I'm like, fuck your feelings, I don't give a shit. And one of them said that like there actually needs to be consequences for what the shit you say online. I was like, no, there don't. Like, fuck you. Like, what is it? Like, I said, well, what is your proposed thing? Well, my proposed thing is that we can call it out. I'm like, oh, well, you can do that all you want. Like, fuck it. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit about you. So, I mean, you can say whatever you want to about me. I don't care. Like, but if you want to pass laws, then fuck you, you know, because like I have no time for your totalitarian viewpoint. And
Yeah,
one of them, these feminists, like this one feminist, I forgot what her name was, but me and her were just going back and forth, and then Go Get was like in there replying, and he actually replied to make fun of her. And Go Get sent me the tweet, the screenshot of the tweet, but she replied and said exactly my thoughts. Like she was like replying, like agreeing with him, and then he replied back like, I was talking about you. Like she didn't even recognize like that he was actually making fun of her. It was
oh god, I
people
love it.
that was priceless. It was like after that I was like I had to mute the conversation because my mentions were going insane, man. I had like 3 or 4 SJWs and trans people on my it was insane.
Hilarious, sir. Hilarious. Straight up dishonor, and she's like, oh, my thoughts exactly, Go Get. I agree with you 100%. And he's like, okay, retard, I'm talking about you.
It was
Blocked.
like
Blocked.
it's fucking oh no, she actually didn't, like from what he said and what I mean, but none of them blocked me, which was really strange. But so I mean, they're making progress in that area. But the other shit, like, yeah, no, the gender is a social construct, and yeah,
social construct. Yeah, because evidently science is a social construct too, right?
yeah. They said everything in life is a social construct. They actually said that. I was like, no, like that's just I'm not living in your pretend world. So
I bet you if we were all fucking drinking the Kool-Aid, they'd love us more. Why won't you accept me? Do I have to show my tits on camera?
If the Kool-Aid was a rare flavor of Mountain Dew, I might drink it.
Man.
A rare flavor.
Spud, like again, man, like you're not understanding like what Cyrus is saying. Like he is not saying, he's saying speaking for himself. Like, and like one thing is that honestly, if you look at like certain games, like between console and PC, there's not really a major difference. Like as far as just like looking at it from just looking, the differences are in the shadows and the draw distances and stuff like that. So I mean, that one could very easily say I don't see that much of a difference because they don't know to look at the shadows and the lighting and all these different little field of view and all that kind of stuff like that. That other stuff like that is very minute and not very easily noticeable when you're just glancing at a screenshot side by side. So I understand that when people are talking like that. I mean, he's not saying actually, it's just, you got to understand. Just English is a complicated language.
Titanfall says, I really wish you can talk about the gender thing on Twitter.
Me, Titanfall, like me actually talk about it? Oh man.
Yeah, he gets attacked all the time. Like there's been
Yeah,
times where like me and Shane have had to go in on these motherfuckers. Like what the fuck? Like over
yeah,
a simple conversation could trigger so many people. It's ridiculous.
yeah, because they'll share my tweet with their crowd, and I end up getting like a harassed and everything else. So I mean, I have no problem with talking about it. Just that it ends up becoming
You know what? Like
shit.
I want to ask these idiots. Okay, so if everything's a social construct, common sense is a social construct. Knowing what right from wrong is,
That's a life essential.
What's deemed inappropriate and what's deemed wrong is considered a social construct. So if you're shitting on my views because you feel that they're a social construct, why can't I do the same to you? You see what I mean? Like the very statement and sentiment that they present is hypocritical at best.
You can't turn it around like that, Brimstone. That just makes you an asshole.
I know, God damn it. Fucking
Yeah,
idiots.
they're just a walking hypocrite. Like they really are, because they don't realize like what you said. What they're saying is they're leaving themselves open to say like what they're saying is easily challenged.
Oh,
Like,
it's yeah. I could easily I could sit there and just say, well, all right, so this is a social construct. Do you think pedophilia should be okay?
Oh, that was where they were headed in that conversation. That's the reason why I had to mute it, because they said a child that is not even hit puberty is capable of rationalizing and making an informed decision on taking puberty blockers and what that can do to her later on, him or her later on, if they decide to change, like at 18 years old or 19, to quit taking puberty blockers, then all of a sudden go through puberty at late in the age. They can understand that at 12 and 13 years old.
They do realize that the mental ramifications as to what could happen to the individuals of doing that could actually take place with those people. More mental issues would come around. More people diagnosed with mental illnesses brought about puberty blockers will come around. A lot more of our psychological impairment in this country would double, about probably another 100-fold, if in fact that was indeed something that our country supported, which I'm glad it doesn't. I mean,
oh no, we do. They're using puberty blockers now in
really?
America. Yeah, it's just not it's not socially, I guess, like a widely used medicine. But people are actually using. I told them that like the parents need to have their kids removed from their house because that's abuse.
No, I think it is widely used. I just think it's like being gay like 10 years ago or so. It's not okay to talk about as openly.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I just to me, I said what makes a difference? Because they never answered me, which thank God, because if they would have answered me in the incorrect way, I would have lost my shit. But I said if a child at 12 years old is capable of making that decision about blocking puberty and understanding the ramifications 6 or 8 years down the road when they decided, okay, well, never mind, I want to go through puberty, and what that entails, I said, then how come they can't make the decision for having sex?
Yeah,
and she never replied, which I'm glad. But I mean, that's like, how can you say if they cannot consent to sex or they don't understand like what sex is and the ramifications behind sexual or
at
like
that
sexual
fucking age, you can't trust them to make the choice to have a healthy dinner, much less puberty
Exactly.
or puberty.
It blows my mind that these people are like okay with these kids making these.
I'm not gonna mention their name, but I do have a family member that's in-law. One should say. I mean, this kid is about 7 years old, and she's already has it in her head because of the things that she's seen on Twitter and social media that she is indeed a he. Now, mind you, before she got a hold of Twitter and all these social medias, before she even had her phone, she was the most normal little girl you'd ever meet. All right, she loved being around us, loved hanging out with us. She loved hanging out with her aunts and her sisters. It was all right. It was great. Then Grandpa went ahead and bought her a phone and got her first Samsung phone, Samsung S6 to be exact. And now all of a sudden she wants to be a he. So take that for, I mean, what do you guys think about that? I think that's absolutely ludicrous. And her parents are supporting her on this.
I think, how old is she again?
She's about 7 years old.
I think the parents need to have her removed from the home and her put into psychiatric care to where she can get the attention she needs.
I agree.
Because
Uh,
I find it. I mean, it's one thing if you're above the age. If you're an adult and you make that decision, cool. Like I said, I don't care how you live your life, man. Like I don't care. But whenever you start doing it with children that can't make that do not understand the ramifications of their decisions, like that right now with it being on YouTube and which is what they watch mainly,
Yeah.
and with it being presented talked about like on the news quite often or whatever, it's become like quote the cool thing to do to be gender neutral and all these other weird things that it becomes like the rebellious thing to do from their parents, and these people are going to like if by supporting that I mean these kids don't know what the fuck they're doing like that. Like you're supposed to be a parent and say no, you're a girl or you're a boy, you're going to be that way until at least the age of 18. At that point, if you still want to change it, then it's your life. But until then, you are going to be what you are.
Absolutely, I agree. And to answer, go ahead, Shane. No, go ahead, Shane.
No, I was just gonna say, numerically, I don't think she was too young for a phone because I don't go by the whole numeric age like where a toy says ages 3 to 7 or whatever. No, you know your child. You know whether or not they're ready for something like that.
Yeah, that's entirely up to the parent. I think
particular parents, I don't think they paid close enough attention to her to realize whether or not she was ready for technology of that level or not.
Okay, so that's exactly where I was going with this. Actually,
they introduce. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm gonna end up.
No, you're good.
These things just
I know. It's all good. Shaq, to answer your question, though, a 7-year-old with a phone, it's really not based around the phone so much as it is around her father's neglect and her mother's neglect. They really didn't pay any attention to her. They bought her whatever she wanted. They never spent time with her. They never sat down and had a family meal with her. They've never shown her love or compassion. They never showed her any sort of discourse when it comes to positivity and upbringing. They never brought her up as a child. They literally go to work, come home, and do whatever they're going to do. That's all they do. This is what they do. This is how they live their life. And the sad thing is her family doesn't care. Like her family really doesn't fucking care. My mother-in-law cares, and her husband cares, and me and Val are both kind of like beside ourselves with it because we know this little girl. This little girl was a happy little kid. She was fun, and then she gets around social media at a young age, and she reads into all these different fads. Now she wants to be a fad because she knows she's going to get the attention from her mother and her father. And that to me is extremely sad. These people shouldn't even be parents. These people should locked up in prison for the abuse that they put this little child through. I mean, their oldest daughter doesn't even fucking hardly eat food because of how abusive these people are.
Yeah, and see, like it's one thing to like they're actually kind of fucked now because now that this little girl has gone as far as she's gone, to rebel against her parents, they can, do what a lot of people would consider the right thing, which for all I know, it may be the right thing, is to take away all that technology and social media from her. But then later in life, it's going to be like, well, my parents were fucking assholes. They never gave me anything. They took away this from me. And so I think they're at the point of no return. No matter where they go with this, something not great is going to come of it.
Yeah. I mean, they decided to have like an electronic babysitter, and
yep, it went from our generation of the Flintstones were your babysitters, or family values was your babysitter, or Family Ties, Fresh Prince, Nick at Night. I mean, those were my kind of like my babysitters growing up. But you know what? None of that ever
value from that shit, though.
I never wanted to chop off my dick and become a girl. I never wanted to.
That was one of the things about like the Flintstones is like even though they were corny or whatever, they still had like some sort of like good message usually in most of their episodes.
Yeah.
Now you can't even find it like in today's cartoons or even today's like what the kids watch on the internet. There's really no good message in it. It's all like filled with this nonsense.
For example, like one of the shows that I by coincidence was set in front of all the time at I'd say close to 10 years old was like, I think it was Boy Meets World. Like, and if that show instilled anything in me, it was I wanted to find my own Topanga. I've been with my wife now, like 15 years.
Yeah.
I didn't want to chop off my dick watching that show. I mean, or do drugs or anything like that, you know. See, like,
are
so,
you sure? Because I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I think you were totally down for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
You're just a fucking normie in that case, sir.
not the chopping your dick off thing, but the drugs. I don't know, maybe.
I just find giving your, it's one thing to give your child like what Shana was saying, you know, your child, because like my child, they had one at 7 years old, but none of them have ever came to me and ever said, I want to be a boy, or I want to, like, anything like that, because even though they were mature enough to handle and know what sites they could go to, stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't just an unfettered access to the internet, and I still interacted with my child. I wasn't just like, okay, well, they're quiet because they're staring at their phone or the internet for so long, so I'm okay. And too many parents these days are just handing them a console, handing them a computer or a phone or a tablet, and saying, as long as you're out of sight, you're out of mind. And that, like, if they have that, I mean, and they log on YouTube, I mean, they're like the main recommended page in YouTube, and we all know that they don't sign up with their age. So when they go on there, the main page is either the anti-SJW videos about trans and all that shit like that, or the trans people talking about it. And it's just like, so, or like if they see an anti-SJW video, they might, okay, well, what are they talking about? And click the link, that they put in the description and go to that video, and they're like, oh yeah, I identify as that, because, it's just a very dangerous thing without having a parents involved in the kid's life as well.
Yeah.
And like no parent should be supporting a kid at the age of 7 or any age before the age of 18 of transitioning to another sex. Like, you live your life and figure it, because like if puberty, once you hit puberty, it might change your whole outlook. You might actually, I'm a girl, and I like being a girl.
It's funny you should say that, because there are actual forums of people. It's something called was it transition regret or some shit like that, where they actually talk about that, where they're like, man, I wish I would have waited. I wish I would have just fucking given it a shot first, because a lot of these guys that are going in there early at an early age are regretting it later down in life. There's people that just they wish they would have waited, and that, I mean, and when you're a kid, evidently you know it all. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I could say about myself that I've never done in my life. I never knew it all. I wasn't raised to fucking think selfishly of myself first and then other people last. In fact, I was quite the opposite. I've always thought of other people first and then myself last. And that's the way I've always lived my life. And these kids nowadays, they don't care about all that shit. They're like, fuck everybody else. This is all about me.
They have one simple philosophy, and that's, give me it. It's mine. I mean, that's
I deserve it. I deserve it. It's like, bitch, you don't deserve shit. You didn't work for anything. You didn't earn your way. Your parents paid for everything. What the fuck are you talking about? You earned anything. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
I don't know. It's a scary place that the world we live in, and having kids grow up in this world is just.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's scary to think about, isn't it? Like, you just think about it and it's like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Like, I'll put it this way. If these kids lived in either one of our homes, out of the three of us, these kids would be dead.
Oh, yeah.
No joke. These kids would be fucking dead. They would easily be knocked the fuck out or possibly killed. Like, my mom would have killed these bitches by now. Like, no joke. My mom's crazy.
Yeah. What was the other thing that? Shit. It was about Jake Paul, of course, but his little thing. But shit, what was it? I can't think. Bro. Yeah, but Jake Paul apparently is now being harassed because he's having these parties and shit out in his LA home, because he's actually let people know where he lives on the internet. So, like, they said, the LA streets are around where he lives in his neighborhood are constantly flooded with girls, out in the street and shit. So they're actually trying to sue him now. The homeowners.
Yeah, his neighbors are suing him, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like what somebody said, I think it was Paul, like Philly DeFranco, that like the only thing it's doing is just making him more popular. So
It's making him more popular, but he's making the government more money.
yeah, true. I mean, but he said that like Philly DeFranco did it. He in I guess last month he is getting like 500 million views per month, and he said even if he's at the $2 CPM, you know, he's making at least $2 million. I think it was like $2 million a month or $1 million a month. And then if he's at the if he gets lucky and hits the $10 a month CP or $10 thing CPM, then he's easily pulling in 5 to 6 million a month off of YouTube.
Really?
I want just 1 month like that.
Shitty ad thing that's going on right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Holy fuck! Imagine when this all blows over. Because mark my words, it will blow over.
Oh yeah, it will. I just want 1 month like that, just like where I get a $5 million check and I'll be like, okay, I'm walking away from YouTube, dude.
Good. It's like gambling. You just got no one to walk away.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm good. I'm gonna go, buy my family a house and we're gonna live happily ever after. But I'm still gonna make my wife work though. I mean, $5 million isn't enough.
Well, why? Because you might buy the PlayStation 4 collection again and sell it again.
That's right. I told my wife now that she got a job, that she got this job. I said, I'm thinking that like what this is telling us, the world is telling us is that I sold my PlayStation collection and shit happened, and now that I don't have it anymore. You got a job and it's a really good one, and now I think that the world is trying to tell us I need to collect again. And she said, so you need a divorce, right? And I was like, well, maybe not, but I mean, we can talk about it, right? Like,
that's funny.
so she's not okay with me collecting ever again. So, but
it's she only said, Rambo, trust me.
She only said physical copies. She never said I couldn't collect the digital copies. I'll have the biggest.
I'm pretty sure it's included.
Yeah, probably so.
That's funny though. She's like, yeah, no, bitch.
Yeah, no, she's not. Yeah, she's not having that at all. Which I can't blame her. I mean, she's been through me collecting and then selling and then collecting and then selling. So yeah, I've probably spent. Yeah, I don't even want to think about what I've spent. To tell you the truth, it's kind of depressing.
No, you laugh, it's not depressing at all. What are you talking about?
I probably could be having a really nice house and a nice car right now for what I've spent on consoles and video games this generation.
It's because you're gay. I know. That's all right.
But she did say though that I can get my kids, like for Christmas this year, we were going to get all of our kids a Switch. But since they really haven't taken interest in any of the games shown on the Switch, we're going to get them all each their own PlayStation VR.
Jesus, that's an arm and a leg. You got what, 5 kids?
Well, we got 4 that like to play the game. So it'll be 4. It'll be a total of 5 PSVRs that I have to buy because I'll get my wife one, and then my kids, 4 of my kids one.
Jesus, dude.
But that way they don't play mine.
All for that? Fucking learn to share, Rambo. You're 40.
But that's the problem is I'm crippled, so I'm like I want a game because I'm sitting in front of the game, and I got them their own fucking console so that way they can game, but they still want to come to my fucking console to play the damn PlayStation VR, and I'm like, do you not see me playing? Like, and they're like, well, let me take it to my room. And I'm like, yeah, no, like that ain't happening. So it's better just for them to have their own.
So this is gonna only cost you a small fortune, in other words, right?
Well, it'll be their one big Christmas present, the Santa gift,
Yeah, totally get it.
Oh shit, Brimstone! What are you getting me for my Christmas present? I think I'll take 4 of those.
How about this?
Yeah, I mean, well, hey, if you're doing that,
Xbox One X custom with a controller, we'll talk.
Right on.
Well, see, that's another thing is that I've got it. Like my son, he's starting to really get back into like wanting to play both consoles. So I'm thinking I don't know if I'm just going to give him my S whenever I get the X, or get him an ex as well.
Jesus. Can you adopt me, Rambo? Like, you have room for one more?
Well, I mean, if we kick one of the kids out, which I mean, I have my pick which one that could be.
All right, let's do it. Let's start the paperwork then.
That's funny.
Yeah, go get if I ever made ever had like $5 million or made $5 million on well, that's never gonna happen. But if I ever did, it definitely would not be going all to me. Like I'd be like taking care of my friends and the people that's helped me out in life, and I'd definitely be paying it back, like paying back the shit.
Yeah, life is all about paying it forward, if you ask me.
Yeah. I can't stand the people that get rich and then like
They
just
forget where they come from.
Yep. Like me, it's all about like it's all about you, like not forgetting like where you came from, like that type of thing. Like I was watching this episode. It was like on sale during like the midsummer sale on PlayStation. It was called like the Streets of Compton. And it was like a two-part thing. It was I paid like $2 for it. So and I watched it, and it was. Do you know who the rapper of the game is? Have you heard of him?
Oh yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Well, he's from Compton, and he was. They were telling the streets like how the history of Compton, how it used to be like a very affluent white neighborhood, and then how it transitioned to to what it is today. And one of the things that like really like surprised me is that he already had gone like five platinum records, or his record went platinum 5 times or whatever, and he was still living in Compton, like in the hood. Like he just chose like this is home, this is where I live. And he said the only thing that made him move was that one day that whenever he came out, of course he became a target to the rival people. But whenever he came out of his house to go to like a record, like talk about his record or whatever, he said that he just saw the people come down the street and they just started shooting from a distance. And he said that nobody got shot. He said, but in the his Range Rover got shot, and right in the like his son's car seat was in there, and right above where I guess where his head would have been in the car seat, if he was in the car seat, had a bullet hole in it. And he said after that, he just said the next day he said he moved to Calabasas. So, but he said he still comes back and visits. His brother still lives there, and like he did not forget where he came from. He's like giving back to his community, which is the people that has helped him along the way. Yeah, very admirable. I really enjoyed seeing that, and that was one of the things that I find very troubling is a lot of these actors or singers or whatever, they talk about like wanting to help out Chicago and all these different things, and look at all the people that came out of Chicago that's rich now. Like, what are they doing? They're not doing anything to help Chicago out. It's like they just said, "Fuck Chicago, I'm out."
Yeah, they're like, "Fuck this place. Yeah, I'm out of here." Yeah.
And like that, to me, that's what's wrong with the world today. Is like too many people are thinking for themselves.
Yep. It is a fucking shame, dude. I don't understand how hard it is for people to really, I guess, think outside of themselves, right? Like, I don't understand why that's so hard. And especially if I was rich, I mean, I'd be the same right there with you guys. I'd be trying to help people out. I'd be trying to pay back people that have helped me with the life I have today. I mean, I wouldn't try to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to buy you off." It'd just be like, "Hey man, this is a thank you. Do you have some house payments you need? Do you want me to pay your house off? Do you have utilities that you need paid?" Like, I mean, I did that with my cousins, right? Like I went out there to visit my cousins, and they were in a rough spot. So I paid their electric bill, and I told them, "Don't worry about paying me back." I said, "You're my family. I love you. Don't worry about it." And I think, for the most part, had I not had the life that I had with my family, who knows? Maybe I would have turned into a fucking extreme left fucking retard SJW, where I'd have been like, "Fuck you, I don't need to help you," and then start preaching about how people should help the world.
I know if I didn't have the childhood I had and I wasn't taught like what not to do, because that's all my childhood ever taught me is what not to do as a parent, what not to do as an adult. If I hadn't learned that, then I know I'd be severely fucked today.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep. Yeah,
I just
Michael
wish I
Moore's
mean,
a fucking idiot.
definitely more the wealthy and more the stuff like that. They need to quit talking and helping out other countries and actually go back and help where they came from.
Yeah.
Like give
and
But
for me, you would
it's
have never
time.
even had to give me money. Like if
no,
like
it didn't even have to be
you
money.
lended
Yeah.
your ear when I needed to talk, if you gave me a hug when I felt down, fine, you know. This is how I'm paying you back.
Yeah, see, like instead of like these rich people like going out and like giving people in the neighborhood money or anything like that, just build like a community center or something like that, or give some money to donate some money to the city so that way they can improve the area around it or something, you know, to just something to build up the area, not help out individual people. Not mean, you know, obviously if you want to, that's cool, but like Chicago needs some help bad, and it seems like everybody, even Obama, like it seems like everybody just kind of abandoned Chicago. And right now, I feel sorry for the people in Chicago that really just want to live a normal life, you know?
Yeah. It's the crazy part about that, right? Is Obama became known because of Chicago. I mean, the guy practiced law out there. He joined the Black Panthers when he was out there. He was a community organizer when he was out there. He was fighting the good fight to help others when he was out there. And now he just kind of like, well, you know, bitch, I became the fucking president. And everybody hates me anyway, so why the fuck should I help you?
Yeah, he's like, I made it. Now it's your turn, and he just left like that. And I don't know. He might be helping, and we just don't know. But I mean, like usually with people like that, it's kind of publicized. So it's just, yeah. JC there, Michael Moore is another one of those people. Yeah, I can't stand that fat fuck. Let's see what.
Over exaggeration for the win.
Yeah, what's the My Little Pony era thing you were talking about on Facebook?
Oh yes, yes. Like there was people were, you know, in that Xbox United group. People were posting going, have you seen this area? Like I was entering a code for Xbox Live to extend my Xbox Live, and this is the error that popped up, and it was like, I mean, just then I was thinking, okay, well, you know, that's probably bullshit. Somebody, you know, they're just, you know, saying shit like that or whatever. And then somebody else posted it, and somebody like a different looking error on a different little thing, but it was still the same saying. And so I started taking a look at it, and there's somebody they had to have hacked Xbox. Like somebody had to have hacked them because it says mock error title. And it says this would be some long description about the error. Read it and weep. And if you haven't looked up this phrase on the internet, please do. You will find a My Little Pony episode called Read It and Weep. Cloud Chasers and Wonderbolts, you'll never be forgotten.
I gotta admit, like if I was gonna hack something, I think I'd do something like that. That's kind of funny.
It's reminiscent of some of the hacks that you do in like Watch Dogs 2, like where you make the computer or whatever say something funny or whatever. But everybody knows like whenever because I think Google and Microsoft both have tried their hands at funny 404 error messages. And like they're usually related to like what you're doing. This has no relation at all to like what they were doing on Xbox. But I asked, which was kind of weird. I've never got a reply from Mike Ybarra or Phil Spencer, and I tagged both of them. I was like, is this one of Xbox's new error message or something? Like I don't understand the My Little Pony reference. And he said it's a service error that they're aware of, and they're getting it fixed. And I'm thinking, this can't be like some sort of internal service error because like the My Little Pony reference doesn't make sense. It seems to me like somebody's hacked it and playing around with the system.
Yeah.
Not doing anything malicious, but just fucking everything around.
Well, it probably is.
I think somebody posted another screenshot. I'm not sure if it was real or because once these error messages go out, then people start what's it called, creating their own, I guess I should say. And one of them was like it showed like a picture of the guy at the main character in Quantum Break, and it said unable to locate Uncharted 4. And if that was real, then it's clear at that point that somebody's fucking with Xbox.
Yeah.
Either an internal employee that's disgruntled and they're about to fire somebody, or somebody hacked in and just said, you know what, instead of, I can't get to people's like credit cards, but I might as well fuck around with people. I just think it's kind of funny, like the My Little Pony reference. I mean, like, it's because that's what the Xbots call the PlayStation guys. So it just kind of was funny that they're referencing like, hey, stick around for the My Little Pony.
Right. I don't know. I mean, like, it doesn't really bother me because, like, first off, I haven't really been able to get on my Xbox lately anyways. Had some more AC issues, guys. So, yeah.
Again?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's been an ongoing battle for how long now, dude? Like 2 weeks, Shane?
Yeah, easily, man. I mean, brand new. The shit's only like, what, 8 or 9 months old?
$15,000 and the shit still can't work right. Like,
yeah. It's fucking crazy.
I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm sort of like, you know what? Come take this. But the guy that came out, he was really nice. He actually ended up replacing all of the components, the new motor, the whole 9 yards. And it's been good. It's actually lasted longer than 24 hours. Like, holy shit.
That's
and it's
good,
actually
though.
doing good. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, like, so I went through the first repair, right? And it blew the motor out the next day. So that's where my annoyance is. It's like they fixed it, and then it blew out, and then it took forever for them to come out again. So it was just like, oh, man, like what do you do after that point, you know?
They had to have Afro-engineered it the first time, if you know what I'm saying.
Afro-engineering. Excuse me, sir, what are you trying to say?
Southern engineering.
Yeah, there you go. So today I witnessed a pretty cool accident. There was a U-Haul truck. There was a U-Haul truck outside, right? And they pull in underneath the carport, I guess not realizing that the U-Haul is like so tall, right? So, yeah, they totally took the carport with them. It was funny.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So right over that. Oh, yeah, that was you said, yeah, I got your text. You're saying it was like a tin can, right? Like they just peeled that bitch off.
Oh, yeah, the carport was, I mean, pieces of it were everywhere because they got stuck. Like when they drove in, they got stuck where they had to like throw it in reverse and really like gun it to get out of there. So when they did that shit, oh man, what fucking sheet metal everywhere. It was crazy.
That's fucking funny. So some of these people that live out here by us are complete idiots. Like they're complete morons. I'm not gonna lie. You can't make up the shit that Shane's seen already. And this is like, what do you say? It's like your 3rd month or some shit like that? Like,
yeah.
Coming out here? Yeah.
At least 2 bad accidents I end up seeing in 1 month. Like, I don't actually see the crash, but you see the aftermath of it. Ambulances and jaws of life and the whole thing. I mean,
are you one of them people that slow down to take a look?
Oh, if I'm not in the accident, hell yes.
Yeah, me too. I have to look. It's just too hard not to.
Hey, your number 1 fan's in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
If I'm in the accident, though, no, you have to keep going. I mean, you're just going to trouble everyone by being there. I mean, what are you going to tell the police that the person you hit can't tell them? If you really think about it. I mean.
Funny. I don't know, man. These fucking people. I like the area is great to live in because it's cheap. And there's actually some nice places out here. But the people, man, oh my God. If it wasn't for the people, this place would be so much better. It's like ran by, like, imagine, if you will, some backtown hicks getting together and making a town. That's what this town is. It's filled with a lot of good people. They're victims of consequence or the situation, should I say. It sucks.
Yeah.
And Shayna's going to retire here. Because, Shayna said he was going to retire here, so yeah.
I don't know about all that. I mean, I do love this area, and I can see how it sucks you in, because it's cheap, like Brim said. There is, believe it or not, quite a few good people out here. You run into more good people than stupid people.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of work opportunity out here. I mean, we've been here a little less than 3 months. And my wife has already been promoted to assistant manager at Family Dollar. So with a $1.50 raise, I mean, so it's pretty good. However, the heat, that can get to you. But the good news is it's not California, which is basically like all on fire right now. So we got that going for us.
Fire? Come on. It's not that bad. Fire? California is on fire? No way. I think
50,000 acres and hardly contained at all is burning in Northern California right now. Only 20 miles from where I came from, which my mother-in-law still lives in that area.
Trying to burn out all the Republicans.
Yeah.
Fuck, it needs to burn out all the fucking liberals too, dude. All the Democrats need to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. They need to like just set. Well, I mean, they can't burn the Southern California because it's all cement and water.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually raining ashes today at my mother-in-law's house.
Are you not familiar with the mysterious trails of lighter fluid leading to this fire from Southern California?
I'm just gonna say,
I don't know, officer. My gas tank didn't have holes in it before.
Brimstone and I may have had something to do, kind of outlining California, putting gasoline all over the border. We're just softening it up for when we go chip it off the goddamn map. That's all. I mean,
yeah, we need to.
I'm down.
We need to put our Operation Dynamite into plan here, you guys. We need to get our friends together. We're gonna rent jackhammers from Home Depot. They're like what, $30-$40 a day. We got this.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't take more than a day. I mean, with all the people we know, we can rent the jackhammers from Home Depots in California. That way, the rest of the United States isn't at like a short supply.
See, there you go. And then we could just sit there and get to work on Operation Dynamite. And California will no longer be a part of the union after we're done. So
all we have to do is just continue like this with the jackhammers until we like piss off the fault line.
That was my point, dude.
Yeah.
California will eat itself eventually. I mean,
that'd be so much fun to sit on the fault line and just watch it float away and just sink. Like, I feel better already.
It's like, yo, did you guys notice how this fucking the Nevada area all of a sudden became beachfront? It is nice, isn't
we
it?
need beachfront property out here with how hot it gets.
Yo, we would definitely.
Yeah, I'm thinking the water would just be boiling at that point up there in the ocean.
It's like, so what if there are sharks in Arizona? What, the Colorado River's no more? We just fucked up the ecosystem for all plant life? Oh, well, it's a small price to pay to get rid of California.
Maybe at that point, if the Colorado River was gone, they'd finally build a fucking bridge across it so you wouldn't have to drive all the way around it to get into Arizona.
How would you just take jet skis to each other's houses? I mean, come on.
It would be like 5 minutes if we did. I mean,
it's true. He literally lives, check this out. He literally lives across the street from me. Had the bridge been built on my side or his side in the very area that we're at, it would take maybe 15 minutes to walk there.
Yeah, you can see my apartment complex from his front door, but you got to go all the way around a fucking river to get here.
It's like, yes, this is amazing. You guys live so close to me. Except I had to travel almost 30 minutes. But whatever, hey. Well, 30 minutes on a busy day. I have done that. It's like 30 minutes on a busy day, and it's like 10 to 15 minutes on a slow night. So, and usually when I go to his house, it's usually around like what 8:39, just so I can avoid all the traffic. Yeah,
It's late. Yeah.
Because that shit's ridiculous, man. You try going around to his house during the day, good luck. You're gonna fucking want to like shoot yourself in the foot.
I think it's because all those people that go to the casinos. There's a shit ton of casinos where I am.
Bro, like this town is like filled with casino junkies and lifers, dude. Like they would rather just fucking gamble their lives away than do anything productive. Like it's so stupid. And these motherfuckers are the same motherfuckers that are like, I need Obamacare.
Yeah,
Can't afford to eat. Well, stop gambling, you dumb fucking moron.
If you're using your welfare card or EBT card at the casino, I think you have an issue. I mean,
slightly. I don't know what you're talking about.
I believe Rambo did leave. Go get. He is on his phone. Yeah, you need some weed? There's a dispensary right down the street from me, and shit, you can walk in anywhere in Nevada and buy it, as long as you're 21 or older.
Oh, so not Overwatch. Gigantic is on Steam now, and there's actually a community here. I only waited for like a minute. Last time I tried to play this game on the Xbox or on the Windows platform, and guess what? You're waiting like 25, 30 minutes. So
it's not an Xbox exclusive anymore?
Nope. It is. Gigantic is now on Steam, so obviously that's where the community is coming from. So I would suggest you guys play this game when you can. It's free to play. It's good. Probably one of the better MOBAs for free-to-plays that are out there. Oh, look! Rambo came back, stupid Whitey.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck happened. I'm over here talking, and I was like going, it's awkwardly quiet. Like, how come nobody's fucking talking? And I was like, oh, I'm disconnected. Like, that would be the reason why. But I'm talking to myself, so.
As long as you're not answering yourself, you're okay.
Well, I do that on occasion, but nobody knows it besides me, so. Yeah, we're talking about the Gigantic. Yeah, that was another game that Microsoft canceled. Well, I mean, technically, they canceled it, but it's still around because the people decided to get funding elsewhere or fund it themselves. One way or the I forgot which one it was, but Microsoft was like completely backing it or part of the backers, and they pulled out, and they thought everything was going to be the game was actually going to be canceled.
Well, the actual Motega Studios, whatever they're called, they've been working on this game forever. Like it's been one of those titles that have been in this perpetual beta / alpha forever, and they never got anywhere on it. It was fucking broken for the longest time, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they started working on it again. And that's probably where you see that they were backing it.
Yeah, but that was when because it was originally supposed to be a Windows 10 Xbox exclusive. Because that was part of the backing, and then I don't know what they pulled out for whatever reason, and then everybody we all kind of was worried that Gigantic was not going to be around anymore. So apparently they would continue working on it, which is good.
Well, they've got a pretty strong community. Like the community itself has been wanting this game to come out forever, and they just never knew when the game was going to come out. A lot of people didn't even know this game was out. They were just like, oh, this game, we've been waiting on it forever, and it's like you guys realize it's been out, right? They're like, wait, what? Yeah, the game's been out. They're like, oh my god! Like they didn't even bother advertising that it was completely out. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I remember that one day I was just going through my library and the game preview tag was taken away from it. Like, okay, that's first I heard of it.
Yep, it's a good game. I like it. It's one I've been looking forward to for a long time. I'm just glad I'm able to finally fucking play it.
Is it a fun game?
Yeah, it's actually really fun. It's not your typical MOBA. It's a MOBA, but it's not the same shit that everybody's used to. It's actually different. It's actually got something unique about it. It's not your typical League of Legends or Dota. It's nothing like that, actually. It's quite the opposite. It's more free-flowing. It's like a more advanced version of Smite, but better.
It sounds kind of fun. It also kind of looks kind of fun too. I'm hoping that is it on Xbox too?
Yeah, it's on Xbox One, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to get.
Funny.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I was like going, wait a minute. Like, what do you mean? Like, I meant to. I was like, oh yeah, I got shit.
Good luck finding a game though on Xbox One. Brem's waited like a half hour or more, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's rare achievements, man.
Yep, exactly. You're so
Playing
right,
a match in that game should be a rare achievement with how long I've seen Brimstone wait for a match.
It likely is.
It really should at this point.
I think it'll probably be like you get an achievement for getting into a match and be like ultra rare. Like, it never happened. I'm the only one. I'd be pissed if waiting that long for a match and then all of a sudden, like, some sort of something happen, you get kicked from the game. Like, yeah. So I guess the crowd's all at PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they would have just connected the servers, to tell you the truth. I mean, there's really no upper advantage about, well, keyboard and, mouse versus console controls. Like, there really isn't. They should just connect the fucking communities so that way it's that much bigger for people to play in. It would have a lot to it would benefit the community in a big way if they did that.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, it wouldn't be too bad with a MOBA like that, like what you said, with between controller and keyboard. So
yeah, there isn't a massive like I mean, yeah, sure, you can look left, up, down, right, but you can do the same thing with the controller, and your reflex aren't nearly it's not as bad as, say, like Counter-Strike. You don't need to be Counter-Strike good in reflexes, you know what I mean, in order to land your shit.
Right.
So.
Well, guys, it's been almost 2 hours, and my wife's still waiting on me to eat dinner with her. So,
hey, you should probably go and chow down on your wife for dinner. I mean,
well, that too.
Eat dinner.
But, I'll probably be back on later, but probably on Xbox. So I will catch you guys later.
See, look at that guy, Shane. Shane just left, and you know what? That motherfucker took it in the ass this weekend.
Nope.
It was magical.
Oh, he even says it was magical. Did you hear that, Shane? Jamie just narked on you.
Did he already leave?
I think so. I really hope everybody enjoyed the show at this time. Let me know, guys, down in the comment section. What do you guys think of the show? Was it good to have it this early? Was it good to, actually be here for once? I know a lot of you guys have been really wanting to come in on this, and we honestly just, I don't know, like, I personally couldn't do it because of the night shift I had. But now that I'm like somewhat early morning, I'm like midday, so I work like anywhere from like 9 and 10 a.m. to like 4 to 5 p.m. So it's a little bit better. If you guys like that stuff, if you like the earlier shift, then by all means, let's see if we can work on this together and getting some times in there. I'm going to start getting some of the squad day shit going again. We're going to get some of the old stuff that we were doing before that you guys like doing with us again. So, if Rambo can stop being a pleb and actually, I don't know, game on PC for once in his life, whatever.
Are you going to buy me a GPU?
That's your fault you sold it.
Yeah. Hey,
He's
did you hear before we go about the Kingdom Hearts 3?
No.
It's coming to Xbox, like it is confirmed to come to Xbox One next year.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it.
The only problem is that, like, the Kingdom Hearts games are very story intricate. Like, so picking up on 3 is going to be kind of hard, like kind of confusing for some of the people.
Yeah.
And they asked the guy, are you considering bringing the collection there? And he's like, well, I'm not against it, but it's definitely going to be after the release of Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm like thinking that's like the wrong way to look at it. Like, they should be bringing it out before so people can get adjusted to it and get hyped for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm glad it's coming, but I still think I think it's definitely destined to fail because nobody's going to really understand the game. I mean, it's going to be one of the things like, well, I didn't play the first 2, or the first however, so I'm not going to buy it. I just think that they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot on that one.
Yeah. Either way, like I said, I'm glad it's coming.
Oh yeah, another game is better. So
what they'll probably end up doing in the future maybe is negotiating something with Sony. Especially, like, let's face it, Microsoft has done weirder things, so I'm not going to put it past them.
Oh, well, yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like, they'll probably end up, hey, Sony, you want to cut? That's probably the only way it's going to happen, but if their fans are strong enough about it, they'll be like, okay, we'll budge, but we'll see. I doubt it personally, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't count it against them for not trying, so... I know that Microsoft usually, I mean, I will give them this. They do try to appease people regardless of how many people want features. Like, I mean, how many people truly asked to play, was it Halo 3 again after the remaster collection? I mean, like, and nobody was mad about that. I was pissed about it, actually. I was like, yo, like, why the fuck aren't these servers connected? Like, what the fuck's your problem, Microsoft? Connect your goddamn servers. Stop being pussies. Because I mean, it would make sense to me, you know, to connect the servers. I mean, personally. But according to some of these guys, oh, that's not a big deal. I'm like, what? That should be a huge deal, dude. Not only should you get features, but these features that we're getting are supposed to strengthen our community. Dividing our community on game servers under the same game title is not bringing us together at all. That's actually keeping us divided. Like, if we're going to play the games together, we need to play the fucking games together, not on separate servers. It's fucking stupid.
I agree. Like, I mean, another thing that's really weird. I don't know. You know how, like, Xbox has, like, the game, like, the Xbox testing program, you know, basically, where you're testing the updates first?
Yeah.
Well, PlayStation's doing that, like, has been doing that lately, but, like, each time that there are big updates coming, they send out a thing for people to sign up. And I guess update 5.0 is on its way, and they're asking people to sign up. But on the sign-up sheet, the one thing that's different is it says, "Are you a current PS Now subscriber? Yes or no?" So I have a feeling, and all of a sudden, like after this last, like on Tuesday or something like that, I think it was, like an ad for PS Now like popped up on your. Like in your where your games are on that line of where your games are and stuff.
Yeah.
You could delete it, which was okay, but it was just kind of odd that popped up just randomly. And the next update has to deal with, you know, obviously it has to do something to deal with PS Now because you have to be a member. So it makes me wonder.
That's weird.
Like, are they going to do an update to where you can download these games? Which would be cool as hell, or are they going to do it to where they're trying to test out PS Now and PS Plus combining, not mandatory combining, but combining to where you can buy, like, say, instead of $60 a year for PS Plus, you can pay like $75 and get PS Plus and PS Now, which wouldn't be bad. I mean, that would be a pretty good idea. I mean, I would pay the $75 because, I mean, then you're getting access to all the PS Now games and, you know, the other stuff for basically $15 a year, which would not be bad.
Yeah. That's just weird that it's like one of the requirements is you have to be a Plus member. That's so weird.
Well, no, a Now member, not even a Plus, but a Now. Like you have to, like PlayStation Now, like the streaming service.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so that definitely raises a suspicion in my head. Like this update, this next update that's coming out for PlayStation is going to revolve around PlayStation Now somehow. Like something big's happening with PlayStation Now, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know.
Are they finally? Are they gonna? So you said this is on the Xbox update, right?
No, the PlayStation update.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Xbox update. I was like, damn.
No, like how the Xbox has like the update program where you can test the updates. Well, PlayStation's doing it, but you have to sign up for these big updates. Like you don't get to like automatically just join the early update program. Like every big update, you go say I want to be a beta tester, and you have to basically usually all it asks is your gamer tag, your PSN ID, and are you willing to test these things out and abide by the terms of service. And then you click yes, and then basically they'll contact you by sending you a PlayStation message or an email saying, "Congratulations, here's the code. Download the beta of the that we're testing, but just remember not to say anything." And this one, when you clicked on it, it says, "Are you like the other questions are there, but the main question, like there was three questions. The two questions are normal. The middle question was, "Are you a current PlayStation Now subscriber?" And it had like a red asterisk on there. Like basically, that was like the main important question. And so that tells me that there's something big happening with PlayStation Now. But you don't think now people are speculating. You don't possibly think that PlayStation is cocky enough. Now, I remember they learned their lesson pretty well with the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
But to where they would actually say PlayStation Now is going to be mandatory with PlayStation Plus for an additional fee.
Yeah, that would be
That would be suicide, would it not?
I would think so. I mean,
I think they can't be
fucked.
yeah, they can't be that stupid.
I fucking hope not, dude.
If they are, I'll be calling them out like crazy because like that's some stupid bullshit.
That would be fucking. Oh my god, dude! Like, I'll put it this way: if these motherfuckers that came out on video and were speaking up against Xbox stuff, they should by all rights be doing the same thing to fucking PlayStation. Okay, I'm checking my Discord. Stop bullying me. Jesus. All right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I mean I'll be calling them out. I know that because like that would be complete bullshit. But I wonder if they're actually saying maybe they're just going to include PlayStation Now with every PS Plus subscription. So like if you buy a year for $60, you automatically get access to PlayStation Now, which would actually be even better. I mean that would to me would be better than like even the Game Pass because the Game Pass, you have to pay like $120 a year and the $60. But this would be $60 and you get access to, play all these PlayStation 3 games and some PlayStation 4 games, and you get, you don't have to pay any additional fees, which that would be pretty kick-ass if they did that. I don't see them being that generous, but, one can hope.
I agree, Caesar. I agree. I think it should be an included thing.
It should, yeah. I mean, if you buy PS Now, definitely PS Plus should come with it.
It's why I was. See, and another thing, like Microsoft could have pulled a Sony and been like, "Oh, you guys want backwards compatibility? You got to pay for it." Like I would have been, they could have done that. They could have, but they didn't.
They could have, yeah. But now
like,
PlayStation, the PlayStation did it because of a reason. Like it would have cost them a shit ton of money to figure out a way to get those PlayStation games, PlayStation 3 games under cell processing to emulate properly on the PlayStation 4. And I don't think the cost effectiveness would have worked out in their favor. Because like even the people who do this for fun on the internet have not been able to figure out, like they've gotten some to work but not consistently. And so I think that definitely says that like it can't be done that easily. And so that would have costed them a ton of money, and I don't think that would have been good for the company as at the time, for sure. But I think definitely to me, like PlayStation Now should be a thing, but they should say like if you buy whenever they had everybody increase the thing from 50 a year to 60 a year, they should have said PlayStation Now is now part of it. Like you pay $60 a year and you get access to PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus. And that would have been met with great praise, I think.
Yeah.
I don't see how anybody could falter that. And I think that Xbox really could have like sold everybody on the whole Game Pass idea by including that with your $60 price for live.
I agree.
Because $120 a year for old Xbox 360 games and Xbox One games that you should have played by now.
Isn't PlayStation kind of doing the same thing though?
Well, yeah, but here's like the big difference is like those games that are on the Game Pass, like the 360 games, every one of those are backwards compatible.
Right.
So they're already basically on the store where you can either buy them or if you owned them, they're free. PlayStation has no choice in this matter, like as far as like charging for the being able to play the older games, because It's either that or spend millions of dollars trying to figure out how to get that emulation to work. And quite honestly, I don't think that as many people play old games as that would warrant spending millions of dollars in that research. So they really had no choice. But I really think that Microsoft could have really nailed the Game Pass idea with this, and including it with the Plus, because that would allow people who did not have a 360 or did not purchase those games on the 360 to be able to play those games just by being a live member. And I think that really would have nailed them as like one of the top features on their platform.
Yeah. What's going on, Gogi? Goji?
Yeah, Cyrus, that would be. I don't know if it would kill the Xbox, but it would definitely, I think, hurt it if they lowered the Pro to like say $299 and then included PlayStation Now with PS Plus, just your basic price, the way you're paying now. Yeah, that would definitely be go Sony. Because that's an additional 400, like over 450 games that you could play. You'd still have to stream, which would suck, but...
So what's going on, Gogi?
Okay, sorry for muting. I had to do something immediately after I joined.
Oh, you gotta go fap?
No, first off, I'm not that fast.
Sure, go get.
I totally agree. Yeah,
Well,
he's
this is
totally
fully
not.
go-get.
Hey, you know what? You can't help yourself, all right? You're in this cast now. You got a hard on. You got to go do your thing. I get it. You identify as an attack helicopter who fucks toasters, and you look like a pony. I get it. I get it. It's your kink. And by the way, Storm is still black.
Oh yeah, he is.
Oh yeah, I can attest to that. But I signed up for the beta. I lied about the PlayStation Now thing, saying that I was a PS Now subscriber, but I'm just hoping that they might not
I would actually get PlayStation Plus if they did that.
Yeah, imagine they would actually see a very big uptake in PlayStation Plus, because it becomes a bigger value because you get the the PlayStation Plus monthly games, plus you get the access to play like the pretty good sized PS3 library that's actually on there. So I think that would definitely help them increase the number of PS Plus subscribers too.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, we're talking like very hypothetical with Sony, because we all know Sony doesn't make they don't always make, they're really get smart with their games, but when they come to like features and shit, they're not really consumer conscious on that.
Yeah.
Because fuck the consumers, man. Why should they care about you?
Somebody.
If I clear my throat, it's not because I have an injection. It's just my throat is being stupid tonight.
You're what?
My throat's being stupid tonight. All the penis I take.
Oh, all the penis you take. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. He works in a penis farm out there where he lives. You guys, it's kind of like, yeah, kind of, yeah. Well, I was trying to give you credit, but okay, if you want to. Yeah.
No, down. All the way down.
He definitely loves the down under, if you know what I mean.
Hey, we had a question in our 2 Facebook groups that I run. And are you okay with the $60 price tag? Do you think it's just fine? Do you think it's too much? Or do you think it probably should likely be even more expensive?
What are you talking about? Like just the price tag in general for games or for live?
Yeah, that's because $60 is basically the price for a new game these days. So, do you think that's a fair price, or do you think that they actually are charging too much or not enough?
I think they're charging too much.
You really think so?
Yep.
I'm 50-50 on it. Like I would like if it was cheaper, but at the same time, most of my life has been $60, so I'm just used to it.
Let me
Yeah,
let
I'm
me
just
let me put it this
Most
way.
of my life I remember.
This is how I look at it. Right.
yeah. I really I'm kind of
Okay, so this is why I think that. Right. So we already know that software digital sales make up a good chunk of the gaming community as a whole. Not
right,
segregating any of them. I'm saying gaming as a whole.
right.
A lot of these experiences that have come out so far, when it comes to indie or not indie, or big title games to small title games, it doesn't matter. A lot of these games have actually outshined and outclassed some of these bigger titles being created on these by these multi-billion-dollar companies, million-dollar companies. I wouldn't even say billions anymore. I'd say millions. Telling you that, yeah, right. And these people are telling you these people lie to you to get your money. They tell you could do this in this game, you can do that in this game. Look at the guy from Bethesda. He was promising the world when Skyrim launched, and like half the shit that he promised you could do in Skyrim, you can't even fucking do. In fact, they have a fan base page dedicated to that guy. It's something like, I can't remember his name, but it's something Lies, and it's like he's said this shit about all of his games, right? Ubisoft promises experiences a lot of the times. They deliver, but here's the fucked up part. 9 times out of 10, they don't nearly look as good as they promise. They don't play as well as they say it does. And 9 times out of 10, guess what? You have a game-breaking fucking bug, all because it was rushed. So when it comes to the value of what you receive in return of that $60, no, it is too much money.
See, I'm different than what you are, because I think that their $60 is actually really cheap. Because I look back at, obviously, like each game, I'm just speaking in general here, because like not every game is worth $60, but if you look back at, like, say when we were like on the Super Nintendo and Sega and stuff, we were going to the store as with our parents or whatever, and they were buying games. And the game that back then, we're talking like, I'm just going to use Sonic as an example. I don't remember how much that game was, but Sonic's really not a very complex game, and it wasn't really oh my gosh, a big thing for its time,
Yeah.
But it was just a game, and it wasn't really super long either. It was just a game, and it cost, we're just going to say, for the sake of arguing, it was like $80. Like these brand new big games back then were like $80, and now that they've actually lowered to 60, and they've been pretty much steady at 60 for quite some time, but the cost of development has gone up tremendously from back when they were $80.
Yeah, but we've talked about that. We've been over that a number of times, bro. We've talked about companies misspending their fucking money and just continuously upgrading their hardware when they could have made the same game on the same hardware regardless, with almost zero cost. The only thing that should cost anything really, after you got your hardware stabilized and what you wanted for the market that you're currently trying to fulfill, you shouldn't be upgrading your fucking hardware after every game release just because you made billions. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah,
you
but
have a lot
also
of careless spending in this. It's no longer
yes, but they're also, like, the people making the games are making a lot more money per hour or per job than what they were back in the day. Like, it's kind of like how if you look at, say, like indie films, like the lead actress in an indie film might make 125,000, 250,000, whatever, maybe even 500.
Did you say in an
But
indie film?
Yeah, in an indie film,
Okay.
I don't even know if they may even make that much, but we're just going to say
I
that.
know what you're trying to say, though.
But then if you go like if they get noticed, and we're just going to say those are kind of like the indie developers, but if they get noticed for doing something great and being a good actress or actor, then they get moved into, like, say, like a Hunger Games film, or like one of the big AAA blockbuster films, and then that brings in more money. That is, I guess, it's not really sold for more money, because movies are kind of different the way they sell them, but those actresses at that point then turn around and make millions on that one thing, so they're worth more money because they're better, like more experienced, I guess. So the people that are working like for EA or Bethesda or these big companies are being paid more than, say, the people working for that made Recore. Like the pay scale is different, so they have to pay these people substantially well.
So so a lot like the gaming market back in the day when we were all kids, a lot of the companies and retailers were able to dictate to the market as to what the MSRP was, and they weren't retail locked like a lot of companies are now. A lot of retail locks are in place from these developers and publishers saying you're not allowed to sell this for any less than $60. Okay. Retail locks are a big thing now. Back then, they weren't so much. As long as they didn't break any sort of threshold to where the developers weren't making any money at all, they could sell it for as low as the minimum was allowed and as high as they wanted. So if you went to like a, say, KB Toys or a Toys R Us and you saw Chrono Trigger there, I mean, you saw their sale and it just came out that week and they're already having it on sale, it was like $45, $50, okay? But if you went to Walmart in that same week, there was no sale and it was $75 at full MSRP. That's where you saw the difference. So the retail market was actually the one that was responsible for the MSRP on games as a total, as a general thing, right? So therefore, the market value per person making these games was also determined based on that same MSRP. These people were being accounted for into the budget of this game being made. Where nowadays, it's not like that anymore. The MSRP doesn't really mean shit when it comes to digital sales anymore because guess what? The minimum that they have, there is no real minimum because how hard is it to sell a digital game nowadays? You can publish your shit on Steam now for $100 and put it up there for what, $15, $30, and if it becomes a popular thing, you're a fucking millionaire, right? Or at least close to it, right? So I guess my thing is, and it will always be, publishers and developers need to stop carelessly spending. The publishers and developers, much like Hollywood, instead of allowing MSRP be the thing, they've allowed the creators and the publishing houses to determine the market's value. And when they do that, that's where the inflation of how much an artist is worth. That's where the inflation of how much of this market branding is going to be required to be included on the budget of making this game. It's all based on the companies. So if anybody isn't as far as to blame for the way the games cost nowadays, it's the damn developers and publishers that. But
complain. How do you account for the lower cost of like a brand new game like the $60 price tag is actually lower today than what it was 25 years ago when people were actually making less money?
I just told you. I
know, but I mean how could anybody like legitimately have a problem with like that lived through that era and then are now paying $60 for a game? I mean, how can you like?
Because the games and their experiences do not equate to what you're paying for. Let's say it goes right back to market value versus what you're actually getting.
What are you talking about? Like as far as like the amount of time spent in the game or whatever?
No, not just that. Okay. But the overall experience as a general thing, like the overall thing, the amount of game time that you have in the, is the game broken? Do we have developers that are going to be reliable enough to fucking fix their experience? Is it permanently fucked if the gamers do this in a game? I mean, good example, for instance, Oblivion, Jaded Statue. That mission was fucked. You couldn't actually complete that game if you wanted to 100% that game. It was completely broken. Bethesda knows it's broken, and the only way you could get that fixed if you get the patch that the fucking creator community did to fix it. I mean, it's gotten to a point now where gamers have to fucking bitch, and some 90 times out of 10, what the fuck? Math people, it's important. 9 times out of 10, developers and publishers have gotten to that point where they just kind of ignore consumers for the most part, and they'll choose when to fix it when they want to. It's no longer a thing where we can bridge the gap and talk to one another. It's, well, you already paid the money for this game, so why the fuck should we care now? That's why I don't think these people are worth the money that these developers spend on them. And that's also why I don't believe that the market right now for $60 as an over-blanketed fucking pricing should not be a standard. It should go back to being a price to actual experience denomination. Like I'd rather have that than the standard being 60. Now, if a game costs 75 and they tell you why it costs 75, and it gets a good enough views because people are going to buy it, dude. I mean, look at you. You buy games no matter what, right? So you'd be able to tell me without a doubt if that game is worth $75. And if it gets the glowing reviews that it gets from the user reviews, then you know what? That developer just became a fucking millionaire. And that was
I mean,
of one investment.
I just don't know how. I mean, I don't know like
Of course I'm too quiet.
how you price and relevance to the experience, because the experience, like the pricing would be done prior to the experience, so you wouldn't be able to tell like what that experience would be worth. But then, so I guess maybe like what, price it based on the review, like the early review scores. Like if it's getting like say a Zelda review, then maybe you can charge more because it's a really high, like it's saying like this game is like really top notch.
But they kind of already do that, don't they? Like Nintendo already sort of inflates their own shit or devalues their own shit over time. Like they already.
Well, I mean, over time, yeah, over time they do, yes. But I mean, like their game still comes out at $60. So I mean, the same as like a Call of Duty or something like that. So I mean, but like say for instance,
Of course you wasted that much money on Overwatch.
oh, what am I trying? The Order 1886 and Rise, like they both came out, and I think they were both $60 from the jump. But if you look at their early review scores, are like in the 40s and 60s. Like they really weren't all that great.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying that they should like maybe come to market with if the review scores kind of are low like that, maybe come to the market at a $40 price tag rather than a $60?
If they would have came to the market at a $40 price tag going now, then yes, they would have probably made more money.
But yeah, I mean possibly. At least I'm just glad you didn't equate it to, because like a lot of people saying we're talking about, well, I'm not $60 for a 6-hour game is just pointless. It's stupid. There's no point in it.
So let's flip it real quick. And I want to know what your answer on this is going to be. If the $60 value is so fair, then how come if a game doesn't sell, it's automatically devalued by 20% by the end of its market share at the end of that quarter when it's launched?
Physically, it is.
No, even digitally,
but not on the stores. It's not usually.
Yes, it
on
is.
the PSN and Xbox Live.
Yes, it is. Dude, like the order had a sale on it at the end of its first quarter being launched.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like a massive sell. I don't think. I can't remember.
What I'm saying is, if the value of the game at launch is at $60 is so important, then how come the developers and publishers will devalue their own game at the end of their marketing quarter of their game's launch?
Well, I just think to maybe recoup some of the sales that they didn't get. Like if anybody buys it, even at a discounted price, that'll still boost up their total overall income. But I guess if they're saying $60 is the mark that we need to hit for profit, if they're devaluing it below the $60, that means that even if they sell it, they're not making any profit. But
right, but as you and I've already talked about, digital sales can be
right. But I mean, couldn't that be like that? Maybe the reason why they did that is because like they didn't hit their sales target to begin with to break even on the game, so they devalued it to a certain price to get people to buy it at a cheaper price, to at least hopes that more people would buy it at that price, so that way they could at least recoup their initial cost.
That
okay, so
for the 160 you spent in Overwatch.
so like what you just said, they're recouping, right? That's what they're doing. They're recouping right. to make a certain profit at a certain margin, as you will. Why couldn't they just do that at the jump and give people that value at the beginning, so that way if the game, like say, jumped and spiked in sales because it was such a good deal at the launch of it being so low, why couldn't they just raise the price ever so slightly towards the end of that spike?
Because raising the prices is a hell of a lot harder than lowering the prices, as far as like getting the market to accept it. Like if you were to log onto the store and see like I think Recore launched at $39.99. Mm-hmm. We're just gonna say that game sold pretty well, okay? Because we all know it didn't, but we're just gonna say it did.
Right? Yeah.
And then if you log on to the store, Xbox Store now, and all of a sudden like it says they want $59.99 for it, you're less inclined to like say, even if it got great review scores, to go, what the fuck? Like, why are you raising the prices on me? Raising the prices is like very counterintuitive as far as like I guess like for sales, because it's you take it a garage sale, and if you go to a garage sale and you look at it and this thing says 50 cents and you're looking at them going, I'll give you 40, and they're like, give me 60. You know, like you're all of a sudden like going, oh nah, yeah, forget that, because you know you should have stuck with at least 50, because that's what you're asking for it. So it's kind of hard to raise prices in the market based on value, but if you start at high, you can always come down. You can always lower, and it makes it a lot more appeasing to the consumers whenever they see the price dropping rather than increasing.
So, but then this is where it comes into this whole reviews thing, right? When you see these reviews come up on some of these games, what's one of the most common thing that they've stated in their reviews when it comes to negative reviews? This game is just not worth $60. This game is just not worth $60. This happens a lot in these reviews. So
right.
that's what I'm saying when it comes to these games that are out right now, that, you know, these guys are like, well, we can't make our money. I mean, don't you think it's kind of funny how at the jump of the generation, not this generation, but last generation, people over at Ubisoft were saying that it was people that were pirating their games that was causing the issue. That's why they weren't selling so well, because everybody is a pirate. They even accused console gamers as being pirates. And it was so ludicrous that they got called out for it over the internet, because people were not willing to spend $60 on their shitty titles at the time. And I will say at the time, because they've gotten better since. They weren't feeling it. They weren't thinking that these games were worth it at the time. So that's why I think it would be safer for people like Ubisoft, who are ignorant to their communities, to come in at a low starting point. And if it does extremely well, maybe even put a survey out there, be like, hey, if we like increased it by $5 and we added some DLC to it, what do you guys think? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. There could be a progressive tree. It doesn't necessarily have to be raise prices overnight and not say anything to anybody. But
yeah, I'm still not seeing like where they would have. I think they would have to just keep the price at a, like if they launched at 40, they would have to at least either keep it at 40 or below, because I don't think that anybody in the community, even if they added stuff to it, would be willing to spend more than what it cost at launch. And like, yeah, I don't see. I know I wouldn't. I mean, that would put me off of, like, if Knack 2 launches it for $39.99. If you know, say it's a great game, you know, it's getting great reviews, everything looks great on it, and then I didn't buy it already, and then so like after the first quarter, like it jumps up to like $44.99, like $45 or whatever. I'm like, it would instantly say, fuck you, I'm not buying your game. Because I would not accept any price increase as a consumer. I'd be like, screw you.
And right now, see what I did there is how I flipped it on you. That's exactly what people feel like right now when a game's at 60, when it comes from publishers like that, or when it comes from publishers like EA. They're looking at these publishers because they've already been burned by these guys, and they're saying, fuck you, I'm not spending $60. I'm waiting until Kingwin comes out with your key for me, and then I'll buy it. I mean, that's exactly what happened with some of the games I have. I was like, fuck this. I'm like, EA's fucked me in the past. Why the fuck am I going to trust them again? So what I did is I just go to Kingwin, and I'm like, oh, look, that $60 game is $20. Sure, I'll pay $20 on that, because I feel like I'd be more inclined to spend that $20 knowing if it's a bad or good game, at least I've only spent $20.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that if the experiences are going to differ a bit from person to person. So, I mean, there's no universal experience that people can have with the game. So I guess that's where I would have a hard time with like the things. And if we're trusting like early reviewers, that means we're trusting people that
not even early reviewers. I'm talking about actual people that, you know, I'm not saying the Angry Joes of the world, for the love of God. I'm not saying the Boogies of the world. No, I'm saying people that have actually had time to sit down, and we're talking weeks after the games come out. All right. Weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, I mean, like the effect of raising the price is actually counterintuitive to actually selling the game. Like, no matter how good the reviews are, if you told me how great this game is, and it was like, say, $60 today, and you like after I waited for you to beat it, and it happened to be like, say, The Witcher 3. You know, you're not going to beat it in any sort of amount of, or like a day or two. So you play The Witcher 3. I give you about, you know, a while, however long it takes you, and then you're telling me, man, this game's fucking awesome, amazing, go get it, and I go on the store and it's $75. I'm like, fuck you. Like, you just done lost me because you raised the price. Like, there's no way in hell I would accept any sort of price increase. And if you launched at 40,
that's you. I'm
yeah,
just
but I
saying,
mean,
like you two, you got to remember, dude. We both come from the generation where the retail market dictated to us what these prices were, and you'd go to 5 different fucking retail outlets that sold video games, and 9 times out of 10 you walked away with 5 different prices. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a retail.
yeah, I mean, I can deal with like the retail pricing be like whatever, because like but I mean, obviously the retail pricing being you know, the new games being whatever the new game price is, like but not going above it. But to me, if it launches at 40, no matter what the reviews are, no matter what anybody's experiences are with it, it stays at 40 until it goes on sale, and then it goes down. And I think that that's the only legitimate thing. Like, even if they didn't launch at 60, they launched at 40, the object would.
And real quick, Rambo, this is another thing towards your 60. Okay, Shadow Kid made a good point. He says devs would rather you buy a 95% off sale on Steam than buy a used game.
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, they're getting money off of that.
Okay, so and I agree with that too. I do.
But that's a game on sale, not a game like. I guarantee you, if the dev launched at $39.99, okay, we're just gonna say so that way we're not getting a $60 price thing. Okay. And it came out and it was like the Witcher 3 type game, like a badass fucking game. And over time they decided, okay, well, we're gonna increase it because it seems like it's definitely worth more than $40. So we're going to go ahead and increase the price, even little by little. I guarantee you that less and less people would actually buy and support the dev, and they would go buy a used copy, because of the fact that they're being able to get the used copy for cheaper. That would be a dangerous of the increasing of the price based on the value of the game, because again, I mean, it would be hard to base it on the value, because you might think Call of Duty is a valuable game, like you know, worth the value to you. Right. Where I think it's like it should be like a $20 game. And so it's kind of hard to get a consensus enough to do it. And the only way you could do it is based off of review scores. But then these reviewers don't even play the fucking game. Like they stop playing the game a fourth of the way through, or even half, and say, "Oh, it's a 9 out of 10." Well,
that's kind of why I said what I said earlier. Like, I wasn't calculating in these morons that get on here. And but I mean, like, this game is a 10 out of 10, even though I played 5 minutes of it.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is you would have to, like, the only way they would have to come to the market at the value of the game. So like the price per value. So the only way that they could determine value at the launch day would be those early review scores, like the ones on Metacritic. And so, and those are the reviewers that, even in the review, they, like, if you read their individual reviews, they'll say, like with Crash Bandicoot, they gave it like an 8 out of 10, but I only played through half of each game. Well, how are you giving me an 8 out of 10 whenever you only play through half of each game? Like, the reviews are not credible. So that Metacritic score is just some arbitrary number out there. But I mean, I guess that would be the only way they could price the game at launch, at a, I guess, value compensation based on the review score, like the overall Metacritic score. Just give these reviewers early enough copies to say, you have 2 weeks to beat this game, and then 2 weeks that, you know, the review scores go up, and then, okay, great review scores, we're pricing it at 60, poor review scores, we're pricing it at 40. But there's no way to price it afterwards, because if you're pricing it afterwards, and the review, like, you price it at 40 launch, and then all of a sudden the reviews, like, skyrocket, and they're like, oh, that's great. Raising the price is going to run everybody away. So the only way to do that is to launch it, like, say, 60 or 70, and wait for the review scores to come in and say, if the review scores are really high and, like, you know, like, out there, like, okay, we're good at 60 or 70, and if the review scores start coming back, or the people's word of mouth starts coming back saying this game sucked, then putting the game on sale and dropping it from 60 to 70 to, say, 40. But that would be, like, the only way to do that. I mean, I don't see how they could. I think it would be counterintuitive, because you would be raising, the only other way to be raising the price, and I don't see anybody.
So let me ask you this. All right.
Okay.
What would be better? Sell the game at $60 and only make roughly $500,000, or sell the game at, say, give or take $45 and making close to $2 million. And that's even more copies being out. So that means even more people have your game.
Okay.
What?
But
So what do you think is better? But what? No. What do you think is better?
No, okay, but well, I mean, obviously, the more money you make would be better. But here's the problem with that: is that say we're gonna say like a game like GTA 5, that cost. I mean, obviously, it's made us money back now.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna say that at launch at $60, they put so much money into that if they launched at $45, it would have taken them longer to actually pay off the actual production of that game, because the amount of profit after paying like 30% to whatever digital provider like PSN, Xbox Live, or Steam, and then paying for the retail copies, like the actual packaging and the shipping and stuff to these different locations.
Mm-hmm.
After taking those costs, those profits off, and then whatever they're actually left with, and then to be able to recoup the cost, it would actually take less. It would take a hell of a lot longer time and a hell of a lot more copies needed to be sold to actually pay off the actual cost of production. So it'd be, I mean, yeah, they might sell.
So wait, did you say it's gonna take longer to pay off the cost of production?
It would if you sold
really
it at cheaper.
So?
It would.
I disagree with that, because if the initial sales at 60 could only breach the gap of $500,000, you're in the hole. But if you could breach that gap faster by only a $15 reduction, not only will you increase sales by way more than $500,000, but you'd be closer to closing that gap than you would have the original 60.
You would, but the problem is even launching at 45, you're not. I mean, or really at any price, you're not guaranteed to hit. Like that would be a very big gamble for these. I think you would see the cost of production in games, and maybe even the overall visual quality of these games go down, because of the fact that you're not like. I guess like games like say Call of Duty, like anything Rockstar makes, these bigger corporations kind of have a. Like they can easily project pretty closely how many copies that they're going to sell at $60, or like during the launch week or launch month.
Okay, so that's the key term right there, project, and that is one of the main issues of what's going on in the gaming industry when it comes to their prices. They project numbers. They don't like to look at base market values as
they
a
have
number
to project.
No. Okay, so let me tell you something. When I was working commercial sales, okay, we had a projection number, a quota, in other words, for our customers based on the job details that I sold. So say I was projecting for the month of October 130,000, right? That's just projecting, okay? I could easily break that or come under that. Right. But at the end of the day, I still have my job, and I didn't cost the money. I didn't cost the company money because that was only a projection. Now, if they're going to project based on overhead, then those numbers would obviously be much higher than that. Those numbers would be fucking huge. It would be millions of dollars. That's how many people work in the store that I work at. So if they were to calculate, of course, overhead. So when I hear game developers projecting, a lot of the, I mean, Ubisoft does that too. Ubisoft
wait a minute.
oh yeah, we're gonna project this number for this game, and it's
before we move to the game company.
Yeah,
like they're projection for you as an employee at a company. Those projected numbers are basically what if you consistently felt like, say it was $100,000 that you had to sell every month. That was your projection every month.
Right.
And if you consistently fell below it, you are costing the company. Those projections are basically to say what it would make to make your area at least profitable each period. So if you're consistently, say if the projection's 100,000 and you were every month you were hitting 50,000. They're going to eventually fire you for lack of production, because of the fact you're costing the company more money by being employed and not hitting those numbers than you are by them just allowing you to stay there.
And
those projections are for that. They're based off of profit.
Right, but that's details wasn't my main thing. Again, I was
Yeah,
only
but I
using
mean,
that
but that's the
as-
same. That's the same thing these game companies are doing. They're projecting off of what profit needs to happen, what type of profit they need to do, or what type of thing do they need to hit.
So you don't think it's silly? You don't think it's silly to project millions of dollars, right? Just because they're idiots and they misspend and they fucking overspend on some stupid shit, and they think because they misuse their funds on a job that their projections are more than justified.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a case by case. I don't think it's it's not a blanket statement because, I mean, I would say that I think Grand Theft Auto was like Grand Theft Auto 5 was like one of the highest production cost games out there.
Right.
And it's a very, I mean, it's visually and like quality and quantity and everything within the game. It's very like apparent like that they spent a ton of money on that game.
Right.
And so to me,
Well,
like
what I'm trying to get with you though is I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but like what I'm trying to make the point of is the projections that these companies have, and I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying those that do this. That's where their failures usually come in because they have these high marks that they expect, and when you have higher expectations, that's more stress on a developer. That's more stress on publishing houses. That's more stress on everybody that's involved with that project. So if you have high-ass fucking expectations, that's usually where games like For Honor fell short. Like, great concept, great game, looks pretty, but the community died. Why was that? Because their projections were based on how much DLC they could shove down your throat, and they were hoping that the projections they would probably make would make up more than what it was cost for the actual developing of the game. Because and that's because they went on projections first.
I'm not sure if the I'm not sure.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. So
I'm not sure if projections is what killed that game because what everybody kept on talking, like the reason why that community died so quickly was because of the connection issues, because they were using peer-to-peer connections rather than dedicated servers for that, an online-only game.
And that's because why? That's because why? It's cost-effective, right? P2P has always been more cost-effective.
Well, obviously it's more cost-effective than having your own servers, yeah.
Right, but that's my entire point, though. Like, they were trying to get as much as they possibly could out of this game, because I'm sure their projections were pretty fucking high. They were like, hey, this could be a great thing. Let's do this. And they created a game based on numbers they were expecting versus the numbers they could have just earned, and then been like, oh, we covered more than that. Have you ever noticed, Rambo, like games, for instance, like the beginning of the green light situation, some of those developers became millionaires not because they were going off of projections, but because they literally was just making a game they thought a lot of people would like to play.
Yeah,
and now I understand the whole corporation and trying to make money. I get it. I know where you're going with this. Okay.
No, I'm not really even going with there, but I mean, because I think that if we went off of that, we would see more games with the quality of Recore than the quality of, say, The Witcher 3 or the quality of Horizon Zero Dawn or the quality of GTA 5. We would see the equivalency of a bunch of AAA games being like Recore level at $45 because they would spend these companies, even though that they would be able to project possibly higher number in sales because of the fact that they're $45 versus $60. I think that you would see the cost, like the amount of money they're willing to put into the project, to be a hell of a lot lower. Because at the end of the day, I mean, they've got to make a pretty decent profit, and after paying, I mean, enough, because the profit I think that they're looking at is making the profit so that way they can pay all their overhead, all their people. But I mean, like, I think the overall expenditures on these developers' part would lower quite a bit, and the visuals that we're getting in today's games would go back down to, say, Recore level being the top of the notch. And I would hate to see that happen. I would hate to see like Horizon Zero Dawn or a Grand Theft Auto 5 or a
well, my friend, I think this is where we'll always disagree, and that's cool. I really don't agree with that. I don't agree at all that they would go into the Recore status, because not every developer thinks along those lines, and not every publisher would definitely not think along those lines. I mean, in fact, just like you mentioned a great game, you mentioned The Witcher. I mean, The Witcher is a prime example of what could be possible if they put their mind to it, even kickstarted and indie funded. I mean,
But then also Microsoft helped fund them too. Like Microsoft.
Yeah,
paid
absolutely, and I agree. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, I don't necessarily agree that just because the game is $45, it's going to be recore value.
Well, I just think that I don't think that, like, I would think that whenever you do, like, the reason why I say that is because, like, the amount of money the reason why these companies make these big projections is because they've spent, 100 million or 150 million, 200 million on creating this game, like making it as realistic as possible, making these graphics feel like really great.
Have you ever asked yourself, like, have you ever like wondered? Because and I don't think a lot of people do, because a lot of us gamers don't think about stuff like this. I think you and I have only been the only ones to really talk about stuff like this. But have you ever actually like thought about to yourself the cost of what it takes to build a developing machine?
No, I mean, I wouldn't even know anything about.
Okay, so for a workstation rig, I mean, top of the line, you're looking at anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000. Okay, probably a good portion of that is going straight to the GPU alone. All right. Now you say let's talk. Let's say Ubisoft is, and again, just an example. Let's say Ubisoft is making the next best fucking thing. Okay. Now every single person in that office has this machine. Now you take all these different teams that Ubisoft has, and they're going to bring them together to make this one game. That's probably over 200 people, okay? Now, mind you, the first game has already cost them, let's say, roughly, what, $700,000, right? Somewhere around there, if I'm right. So it's about $700,000, okay? Now, that's not calculating the wages. That's not calculating the inflated of what a concept artist is or whatever the case is. So, don't you think it's a little ludicrous that they would need that many machines to create one game when we've had other developers in the past, like indies, using shitty computers, probably lesser than mine, making an even better experience, and sometimes they do actually look better. I mean, look at that person's budget versus a multi-million dollar. That's kind of my point.
Yeah, but you would have to definitely point me to an indie game that looked anywhere near the level of a AAA, like look-wise. Like that would be, to me, I've yet to see. There's some indie games that look good, but I would never, like, if you say, let me try to think of a great AAA that like stands out. Well, I mean, it would go back to more exclusives, like as far as that goes, like so, like Rise and even Until Dawn. Like to be able to find an indie game that is even close to those graphics would be almost unheard of. I mean, and I think that's the value of having.
But do you truly believe that? But do you truly believe it takes 200 people to do the job of maybe 13 to 14 people? Is my point. Like, if you think about it,
to get it out in a timely manner.
Back in the day, back in the day, when games were still being discovered and the 3D platform has yet to, it wasn't even a big thing back then. Those teams were literally like maybe 15 people tops. Okay, and this was working at like an Activision before Activision started landing titles like the Terminator and stuff through their publishing rights. And they've been doing things for years. And of course, obviously, over time, the teams got a little bit bigger, but they still topped out around 20 to 30 people per game instead of this huge number where they're at now. You have about, nowadays, I think any major company anyways, at least, and this is just a guess, okay? That I don't want people thinking that this is what I'm saying is fact or anything. I'm guessing anywhere from 40 to 50 concept artists, probably about 100 programmers, if not a little bit more, working on this thing. Now, mind you, in a game developing process, these people are paid in the office to work on a project all the time. I want you to think about all the projects that have been canceled, all of the projects that that could have made this company money, but they decided to have some guy come in and say, "Oh, well, we don't like that. We're just going to cut it." Now, mind you, these people all on the hour, they've been paid tons of cash to develop something that was canceled. And this happens all the time. Versus where we were back in the day as kids, and you heard about a game coming out through like Nintendo Power or something, and they're like, oh, this could come out in like, you know, a year, right? You got that game. You played it. Did they remove stuff? Yes. Did they, you know, I guess the thing is the scale of the scaling of the whole situation. And the scaling of the situation does not add up to where the indie developing scene is nowadays. Even modders, you can throw modders in there if you want, aren't spending that much money on their resources. And so when you have a multi-billion-dollar corporation spending billions, or if not millions, and they're saying this is going to be the next best thing since sliced bread, and we all get it, and when you ask that question, is the $60 mark worth it? And yet we're all disappointed. Then no, that's why that's right there is why I will never justify the $60. Now, will I spend it? Rarely, very rarely. It has to be a game that I'm absolutely 110% going in on. And if it's not something that I truly want, guess what? I'm waiting for a sale on Steam.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I look at, I mean, obviously, like Metrox said, like graphics aren't everything, and I get that graphics aren't everything. But even like to me, even if the mechanics were all like perfectly fine and everything was great, and every game was releasing in still like PS1 graphics, I wouldn't be gaming today. Like if we haven't progressed from PS1 to more realistic graphics by now, then I wouldn't be gaming. I'd be like, I'm done. There's no advancement. Even if the mechanics were have gotten, because the mechanics at that point would have gotten like outrageously good or whatever. But I mean, I would just be like, there's no progression in the hobby, so therefore I'd walk away.
Oh, I'm down. Don't get me wrong, bro. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sit there and say everything needs to be 8-bit or anything like that.
Well, no, but whenever it comes to like these small indie teams or whatever, they if they put out a very vigorous project, we're talking like say graphically as capable of say Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
These small indie teams, it's going to take them years and years to get that thing at a completed standpoint.
But that's also based on the person's vigor, though. That's person based. Some people.
Well, I mean, but like what you said, like with the indie teams having these, I guess the not having the $6,000 or $7,000 machines and all these different things, like they're working with limited resources because they're a small team. Even if they work day and night, it's still going to take them years because of what they're up against. You know, they're going to take a hell of a lot more time, and their systems are going to take a hell of a lot more time rendering or making each scene because of the fact of it's going to, like, their system's going to be tied up while it's making the scene for quite some time, and so until they can get back to their, the next thing. So I mean, it's going to take a lot longer to create these games at that kind of smaller scale, which is why I think a lot of indie games are either 8-bit, 16-bit, or they end up looking like PUBG, which graphically PUBG looks ugly as hell, but it's a fun game. So I mean, you would end up getting a bunch of ugly looking games, and to me, I don't, sure that they're fun in the one-offs, like where you're not, but to play, like say something like say PUBG level graphics on like every game that you're buying, even if you're spending only $40 per game, I'm done. It wouldn't even be worth gaming. Sure, the games are fun, but I want to see something visually stunning. Like if you watch a movie right now from like 1980, and you took like that type of movie, and that's what they were making today, I guarantee you the box office would even see a big hit because there would be no progression in the theatrics. Same thing with the games. Like if we're getting these big companies putting out like say PUBG graphics, then that would be to me a problem.
Well,
and
so Peter made a good point. He says it takes huge studios years to, which he was quoting you. He said, just look at Mass Effect Andromeda. He says, I'll bet Witcher 3 had not even a quarter of the staff and cost.
I don't know what the cost of Mass Effect Andromeda was, but I know the cost of Witcher 3 cost $81 million US to make.
Well, I bet you Andromeda cost way more than that.
I probably now again. I mean, it's not a perfect system to where every game that you're getting paying $6 is going to be this great experience.
Yeah,
but I think that there's more. To me, there's definitely more games that the games I've purchased and played, I've enjoyed myself a hell of a lot more than I have not enjoyed myself. I like this generation. I think is a very great generation. I've had great experiences with a lot of these games that I've played, and it just would to me would be hard to. I mean, I can see the argument for lowering it to 45, but then at the same time is that I just have a feeling that would actually affect the overall amount of money that these developers are willing to put down on their game in the beginning, like to make it, in which then we would turn around and see graphics suffer because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, I think a lot of the time,
a lot of these situations are not just Mass Effect. There's other games I'm sure that exist that have gone through similar woes where they've spent tons of money, and here we are with this subpar game. I mean, we can throw money at anything, but it's really based on the person's artistic abilities and the people that can do the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that, I think they're more the exception than the rule, though. I think that there's more games out there that didn't suffer the woes. I mean, they might have suffered, like, say, connection woes or whatever on their multiplayer thing, but as far as, like, graphical woes and, like, problems, like, that affected the overall game, I think they're fewer than what they're. There's a majority of them that actually worked and worked great, versus the ones that like were Mass Effect level. You know what I mean? Like that suffered quite a bit and still had a bunch of money into it. So I think that they're more the exception than the rule. I mean, sure they're out there, but I mean, like again, it's not like an overwhelming number. Like you can't name me like a shit ton of these AAA titles that ended up being like Mass Effect Andromeda.
Mm-hmm.
But you can name more AAA titles that ended up being a pretty good success, or pretty good, I guess, success as far as like experience. Like people liked them.
Right. Yeah. So, but again, that's what I'm saying. Like overall, that's why we'll probably disagree on this forever, which is fine. I
mean, I don't.
There's too many reasons for me to. I mean, I'll put it this way: if all the games were straight up all the way across the board $60. I'd be one angry motherfucker because I've been burned by a lot of motherfuckers when it comes to gaming in my life.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's the one thing with PC gaming is that I mean obviously they say PC gaming is cheaper, but if it wasn't for CD keys and
some of these games wouldn't even have been known about if it wasn't for sites like that.
Well, yeah, but I mean if it wasn't for those sites, those third-party sites. Gaming on PC isn't really that much cheaper than gaming on console because the prices on Steam, sure, there's the one-off, AAA title that goes on sale before it releases for $30 or $25 or whatever. But for the most part, if you look at their pricing on the digital side, unless they have a sale, it's pretty much on par with like the console's digital price for the same game.
Oh,
until, like, of course, a sale happens.
I was just gonna say, Central Fiction on PS4 is $31.99.
I can look, but I mean, is that the price or is that on a sale?
That's on a sale right now, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean.
Regular price, it is. Let me see, $39.99.
39.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it's Central Fiction, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up but I mean, for the most part, they match up pretty well, and the sales are like. Because Steam definitely has more sales than say.
Well, even some regular price games on Steam are actually like much higher on console, which is kind of weird. I never understood that personally, but like for instance, Tekken 7. Okay, Tekken 7 was actually $20 cheaper on Steam at launch than it was on any of the consoles, which I thought was weird. I was like, why the fuck would they do that? Like, why would Bandai Namco choose that kind of situation for themselves? But they did. Tekken 7 actually was cheaper, and I still don't. I mean, I still to this
So
day
it,
don't
it launched
understand.
at 30. It launched at $39.99.
For Tekken 7, no, $49.99. $49.99. God,
Okay,
I can't
49.
talk right.
So I mean, what's the price of it now, though? Is it still? Because I mean, has it gone up? Has it
I'm
gone up
looking
in
for it right
price?
now. Yeah, hold
Yeah,
on. Right now.
because that would be interesting to see if it actually.
Nope, it's still $49.99.
That is weird because I mean, it
See,
definitely
and that's
launched
what I'm
it.
talking about. Yeah, that's weird. Like there's many times where I've seen games like this, where they're cheaper on Steam than they are on console, and I always kind of figured, like PlayStation and Xbox would want to stay in the same bracket at least, but no, they're still.
I don't.
So
I'm not sure if I'm not sure if like PlayStation and Xbox like have a control over like
Well,
the price of the launch game. I think that's
yeah,
more
I'm
the
not sure if it's
publisher and.
yeah, I'm not sure if they're MSRP locked or not, because I know nowadays MSRP lock is a pretty common practice with the vendors and whatnot. So,
But now I guess one thing that really I mean if you look at it maybe they're pricing it lower because the expected amount of sales on PC are always lower than the expected amount of sales on consoles because it would definitely be an exception to this rule, but if you pointed one out, but games that are on consoles and PCs that launch same day on or even whatever a day or a day later, they always sell more on the console.
well, no doubt. I mean, I understand that they're gonna sell more on console, but a lot of the times, a lot of these little for instance, the should I say cult classic communities, those ones that are like they're pretty massive, but they only like a certain game or whatever.
Yeah.
So they only hang on to those type of games. Like a lot of that has to do with PC. A lot of it does. And a lot of those games, they don't usually sell that well on console. For instance, Enter the Gungeon. Like Enter the Gungeon was definitely one of those games on PC where a lot of people were bragging about it on PC. They were praising it. They were just all about this game. Now, I'm not sure if they sold better since on console. I just know at launch it was for console, it was pretty slow. It was pretty abysmal.
Yeah. Yeah,
but now,
I think that would be more the exception than the rule because I mean, for the most part, like it's definitely like consoles are definitely a guaranteed sell. But see, to me, like that should be like the opposite. Then, like if it's a guaranteed sell on the console, like you're guaranteed to sell more than and less on the P. Because one of their excuses for selling it for $59.99 digitally and not having the same type of sales as like what Steam does. Was that the amount of people buying digital on consoles isn't as great as the amount of people buying digital on PC. So that's the reason why they charge more. But if they're selling, say, I think it was like.
I thought you were against price hikes, bro.
Well, no, I mean, no, I'm just saying if they're going to do that, like a different pricing, then they definitely should be pricing the console version cheaper. And the PC version at the higher price because of the fact of they're always going to sell less on the PC.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
I mean, if that was their excuse, that would be like it's kind of counterintuitive to make the PC copy cheaper.
Yeah. Yep.
It's really kind of weird because that's not usually how it goes. Because usually they charge the exact same price.
Yeah,
unless
that's
there
what
happens
I'm saying,
to be a sell.
But like, yeah, exactly, and I agree with you. But like, I've just sort of noticed this trend as of lately where games that are launching on PC are actually a lot less than they are on console. And I just never understood that. I was like, why the hell is this swapped? Like, I always expected it to be the other way around. I mean, for the beginning of, I don't know, like what, the 7th generation, it was kind of like that, where you couldn't get the Phantom Braves or the Disgaeas. That was like literally locked to the PlayStation 3, or 2. Well, that's technically 6th gen then. So you couldn't get those experiences really elsewhere. And then they started doing this on PC where they're like, okay, we're going to port these over. And some of them are even cheaper now than they were on the value on the Amazon sales for the PS2, which is kind of weird. I just kind of figured things would have, equaled out based on the Amazon or eBay sales margin for those developers than to allow to be on PC for like literally a fraction of the price. Like you could literally get Phantom Brave right now. And those very games that I mentioned on PC for like a fraction of what their counterparts are worth, which is kind of strange. But
that is weird.
Yeah.
And Peter, no, that is actually wrong. The Steam charges 30% to the developers or the publishers, whoever gets charged the 30% for having it on their
I
store.
think he meant actually putting the games on Steam and that.
Well, yeah, that's the charge for putting the game on the store. They don't. The charge for putting the game on there is the portion of the fee that they're going to have for how much they're going to take out of the sales. Like there's no charge.
Is it really 30%? Because I thought there was an original charge fee of $100 for Steam, wasn't there?
Well,
Or did they do that right?
I think that the $100 is to be able to like develop to be able to like submit the game or whatever. But like whenever like the sales there the charge for like what they take of the sales up of their storefront is 30%. And the same thing goes for Sony and Microsoft. They're both taking 30% as well.
Well, yes, but I think he meant submitting the games to them, not just
Peter, right? Peter says, doesn't Micro and Sony do that as well as charging a fee for licensing?
No, I mean like the licensing is all held up by the developer. That's the reason why some of these games have actually been removed from the stores because whoever the developer was didn't keep the licensing up and they ended up losing access to the game. Like so some of the games have actually been pulled from the store before because of that. But I mean they were older games. That doesn't happen very often because most developers and stuff are kind of on top of that situation, but no, like they just charge a flat fee of 30%. Now, I mean, as far as if you're getting into all the indie stuff, like that's different because, like Microsoft Microsoft and Sony both give these companies, these indie people, like their own development kits. Microsoft gives it to you, which is basically a little souped up Xbox, and Sony rents it to you. Like they rent it to you for free, basically. I guess they loan it to you. They loan it to you. You get to develop the game, and you can keep it for as long as you want. And it doesn't charge you anything. But then whenever if you're done making games for them, then you ship it back. You don't get to keep it after. Which most people that are into making games don't just make one game and walk away.
Unless they're Toby Fox.
If they're what?
Unless they're Toby Fox, because he's only made one game so far.
Oh yeah, but I can almost bet that he still has his development kits or whatever because on the off chance that he would make another game.
He said he probably won't because of the Undertale fandom being to the point of where he thinks that he can't make a game as good as Undertale was. Or is, or whatever. I forget what the exact tweet, but that's why. Like, he probably says the kits because he plans on making a different game series, but even then, on PC, you use Game Maker, and that's just a program you download. I actually have it on my PC right now.
But Peter, like you said something about like there's more competition on PC as far as the different games. If you look at like the AAA quality games on PC, I would say that there's not as much competition on PC. There's about as much competition on PC as there is on console. I mean, sure, there's more games on PC, but the majority of those games on PC are indie level games. So I mean, as far as like the AAA quality games like these from these big studio publishers and developers, it's pretty much the same because I mean the same goes to they go to all different platforms. The big ones do. The only thing that y'all have different are like the more of the indie developed games. I mean, obviously, you have your League of Legends and the WoW and stuff that just like they don't come over to console, but the majority of all the games on Steam, AAA quality, are the exact same ones that are on consoles. The only competition they have is with a bunch of cheaper indie games that are kind of basically mimicking the AAA quality games, like basically a copy of them, but at a cheaper cost because they're an indie versus a AAA. So it's not like y'all have like a shit ton of like AAA quality games on PC that aren't on console. I'm not saying the games on PC suck by any means. I'm just saying as far as like these AAA level quality, and obviously AAA is just an arbitrary thing that people use. But
Fucking heretic. No.
you definitely know what I mean by
Yeah.
the AAA quality, like Activision games, EA games, Ubisoft, like those type of games. Those level of games are going to be the exact same ones that are on console. So there's not really any more competition for them on PC. But I guess they are in competition with the indie games that are on there, and that like there's definitely an overabundance of indie games on PC. There's not a shortage at all by any means.
Perfect quote. Good job, Cyrus. Perfect quote.
Mimicking no, Cyrus, I did not say that. Jesus, no.
No, you totally said that.
Metrox, if you look at, say, Paladins is a very, I mean, we're just using that as because it came to my head, but that's a very good example of a game mimicking Overwatch. Now, obviously, it's not 1-to-1, but it's very, very clear where Paladin's idea came from, or Overwatch's game came from. You know what I mean? Those things are basically a mirror of each other. They're just not. I mean, obviously, one is a, they have different maps and stuff, but I mean, you can definitely tell.
Yeah.
No, Cyrus, I wouldn't watch it, Cyrus. Plus I'd probably like log off of Twitter for a couple of days because like the 200,000 followers. I feel sorry for you, like what happened to you, because I'm sure they all went and like seeked you out, and I'm definitely not going to want the wrath of his followers on me, because I made a mention one day and Rags quoted a tweet, and I don't think that my Twitter didn't quit for like 2 days.
That's fucking funny.
And his readers or his followers, they don't read the conversation that he quote.
Oh no,
they just read the quote.
They read the quote and they choose to. It's funny because when Rag says stuff, everybody says context.
Yeah.
But anybody else that he quotes, fuck the context, man.
Yep.
Fuck the context hard.
I know exactly what you said because I saw that quote. I'm like, but dude, there's a fucking conversation that led to that damn quote. Like, yeah, they throw context out the window when it comes to like his quoted tweets.
No, it's not. Yeah. Go-Get's not in this. Go-Get's definitely not in this. Don't look at.
Go-Get. Go ahead and start talking. We've been running our mouths this whole time.
Yeah, I had nothing to add, so I was sitting here like, yep, okay. Mm-hmm.
I know, he was just in here going, yep, I agree. Yeah, okay, yep.
I was just muted. I was just reading chat.
Well, me and him could like not shut up for hours and keep this going. But
yeah, I know.
So what do you like what's I don't know, what do you want to talk about? I mean, you wanted to come in here for a reason, obviously. To talk,
yeah, I was gonna come in here and act like a console peasant, but my voice just said screw you and died for a while, and I had to keep clearing my throat.
Fair enough.
So I couldn't do the voice that I usually use for console peasants.
Because you're a girl, yeah.
No, what did that come from?
I mean, I know. I mean, we all know Storm is black, and you're kind of femboy, aren't you?
No.
You're an alligator wrestler who does it in a thong, right? Look, mate, it's a crocodile. Don't worry, I got me jimmies up my ass.
We go into the accent thing.
I'm gonna fuck this crocodile.
Hey, let's play a game. What accent do I have?
Oh, the Down Under one, right?
I'm just gonna let.
Would you like to throw some shrimp in the barbie?
Anybody wants to answer that question can. What accent do I have? How many different answers
But seriously though, we'll go ahead and weigh in on some of the stuff that we covered that you want to weigh in on. I know we talked a lot, and that could be many different things for you. So.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, the only thing that I really could weigh on from the last hour that was sitting here is the Rags thing, which some of its followers, yes, but that's some of everybody's followers. This is the mentality that I see with some fandoms, and I mean, I'm just gonna call Rags
Oh, yeah.
fandom.
Not all of his followers are like that. No, I'm not saying all of them.
Oh
yeah.
no, God no. I mean,
Yeah, I know. I was just saying that I can explain the mentality behind it, or some
Oh,
of
you
it,
just
because I deal with that mentality. I'm in fandoms. I know that mentality.
yeah, like I was harassed for and called all sorts of names for a tweet that was taken out of context because they all kind of like, well, Rags said it because I mean Rags quoted this. That means we got to attack them. Like they didn't really.
Yeah,
They didn't take the time to actually figure out what the hell was even about.
Yeah, they British. No, you're wrong. It's neither. It's not. It's not Australian or British. No. Let me just go ahead and take those off. But a lot of people who have that put the person on a pedestal of whatever this person says is automatically correct, and it happens a lot with shows as well. And you'll see it in on Tumblr a lot when it comes to shows like Steven Universe and stuff like that.
I'm gonna go to the restroom. Go ahead and continue.
Okay. You see that some. Do you know what a ship is, Rambo, or do I need to explain what a ship is?
Do I know what?
A ship. It's basically a relationship between two characters in a piece of fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. They'll do it with in Steven Universe. They do it with ships where they put some ships up on a pedestal, and if you ship two different characters, then the ship that they like, then you are immediately against them, and that's the mentality that I see in some of these, fan bases that I'm a part of, but I'm not that part of, because I try to think critically and use logic and stuff like that. Like, you'll see me, or you won't see me because I don't, show what I'm doing on Twitter. I will, scroll to my Twitter, see Rex quote something, click the quoted tweet immediately before reading the next reply, read the entire conversation, and go back and give my 2 cents, or just ignore it, which is what I normally do. And since I know some of Rex fan base watches this, I'm gonna say this: you blindly follow somebody, you're not that smart.
Yeah, no matter who it is, really.
Yeah. I don't know, how is Paladin's indie? Is Paladin's indie? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Paladins is indie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Peter, I wouldn't. There's no way that PUBG is even close to being a AAA quality game. Like not even close.
I think it looks fun, PUBG. Maybe
And
double A.
I mean, by the very definition, they are indie because PUBG is an independent person and he's publishing it on his own. Like he doesn't have like Ubisoft or some big publishing company like publishing it. It's an indie game.
Okay. Oh,
By the very
don't guess the
definition.
accent.
I can barely hear you
Oh,
to be able to even determine like what your accent is. So I mean, I'm having a hard time even hearing you. So I wouldn't even want to try to guess the accent because I'd tear that up.
well, I mean, odds are you wouldn't guess it correctly either way. I like playing that game with people because nobody can guess my accent correctly. They always say, I'm English or I'm Australian, or I've got Swedish once. I don't know how to get Swedish, but I've got that once. Yeah. Okay, give me a second.
Okay, Metrox, like, to me, I didn't even know who the hell made Paladins. Paladins, to me, it still is not it's not a triple A game by any means. It would be like at the most maybe a double A game. I mean, I don't know, but I mean it wouldn't be, I guess it wouldn't be indie if they actually have a publishing company, but at the same time is like, yeah, I would not consider it triple A quality. Oh yeah, Cyrus, that quote definitely would be misinterpreted like really a lot. Like what other games did you list on there? Let me see. Dota and LOL. See, we were talking about games on Steam. I mean, obviously those games are on PC, and I mean I said that, but like as far as games on Steam go, there's not. I mean, there's no that I can think of. I mean, obviously there's probably going to be some, but it's not like there's a huge influx of them. AAA games on Steam that aren't on consoles as well. Now, I mean, there's AA games that, and stuff like that. Yeah, but AAA games like from these big AAA publishers, what we all consider AAA publishers, those games are the same amount on both sides. Now, Peter, I'm not saying that they matter. I'm not saying that AAA is the only thing that matters. We were talking about AAA games because that's where we got to whenever we had this conversation. Y'all are taking like a portion of like what we were talking about and focusing on that rather than the whole conversation. We were talking about like the cost of production of these games and how they balance out to the $60 price tag, or they should be cheaper or whatever. And then that's what led us to Tekken 7, which is a AAA game. And then the price difference between $49.99 on PC and $59.99 on consoles, and we said that was weird. And you said that there was more competition. Well, if you look at the amount of competition that's in the same ballpark or on the same level of Tekken quality, there's not a whole lot of games that's on PC that's there that is in the same level of quality as Tekken. No, Metrox, you don't see the world differently. You don't understand the context of the conversation. That would be the problem. Because you're focusing on like the only thing that I was talking about is like how AAA, and that's not what I was referring to. We were referring to the overall, like how we come up to with the $60 price tag. And the $60 price tag is mainly based around AAA games. Obviously, these indie games aren't selling their games for $60. Like they're selling them for 20, 30, 40. Usually around 40 is like usually the cap where most of these indie games are AA games. That's where we got to.
What's going on?
Metrox is taking like for some reason like stuck in this like thing that all he ever hears me talk about are AAA games or exclusives, and that wasn't what we were referring to when we were talking about like AAA games. It was we talked about AAA because we were talking about like what makes up the $60 price, like is it worth it or not as AAA games. And that's how we were stuck in this whole AAA mindset was the cost of $60.
Yeah.
And so they were taking it, and I mean, like, I mean, they can interpret, I guess, AAA however they want, but I mean, AAA has like basically a basic standard as far as like what we consider AAA or not, or what the.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, you might be able to consider like on your own end that say PUBG or Paladins is a AAA game, but in the grand scheme of things of what society accepts, Paladins is definitely not a AAA game.
No, we haven't covered it because, well, I think we did cover it, but we did cover it about it a lot. He was talking about, yeah.
Oh, it's $59.99. Yeah.
Yeah. That game is not worth it.
Yeah, we talked about that in an episode, 2 or 3 episodes back, like whenever they talked about like doing a physical release and they were now upping the price to $59.99. Yeah, that game, they're full of shit.
Yeah, that whole releasing DLC before the game was even fucking getting patched and fixed. That bullshit. And then this, no, fuck that. Fuck that in the ass.
And Peter, that's exactly what I said. Like as far as like the number of AAA games that are competing with those games aren't going to be any greater or less than on PC than they are on console. And I said the only thing that would be competing with them in that sense would be like the AA's or indie devs that are virtually kind of like those games, like basically a mimic of those type of games. And that's exactly what you said there. And I mean, they likely are. I mean, I know free to play is a lot bigger on PC than it is on console. Like, I personally don't really care for free to play. I mean, maybe if I was on PC, maybe like the communities are a little bit bigger, since the communities maybe it'll be a little bit bigger because more people play them. But playing a free to play game on console, like getting a match to play a match, just seems a lot longer. So they've kind of turned me off of like downloading free to play because of the fact of, you know, how long it takes to get a match.
So Ark, to anybody that Rambo already knows my thoughts on this now, but Ark is one of the examples that I would use as to why I don't think games should be that high.
Well, Ark would be, I mean, we were talking like basically AAA games, and I would not consider Ark a AAA game at all. It's just a bullshit game and a money grab at this point.
Right, and that's because we understand the levels of stupidity they went through, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, even though they say it's a AAA game, what would you say to that if they said it?
If they came out and said it, then I mean, knowing what I know about Ark and knowing how the pricing thing, I'd be like you can say whatever the hell you want to, but you're full of shit. Like I can say the sky is green, but it ain't green, you know. But I mean, I guess they could fool people that don't know anything about Ark into believing it's a AAA, but that would be
right. So why not use those same standards against those who claim to be AAA, even though they have a high price budget?
Well, because you can tell I would say, like you say, and even Mass Effect Andromeda, even with the whole shitty facial animations, I would still say there's more value in that game than there is in Ark at $60. Well,
yeah, in Ark, when you're pitting against Ark, yeah, anybody can make that argument. I mean, fuck. What do you and I have played Ark? It's fucking trash. It's shit. So, but what I'm saying is, take out the middleman. Right? Take out the middleman. How can we sit there and still justify the $60 on a game because the developer said it's AAA?
I don't think that I justify it based on the developer saying that it's AAA. I justify it because, like, in every game that has been like that I've played that is like quote unquote AAA, or from these AAA devs or publishers, however you want to look at it. I've been completely satisfied with. Like, as far as my $60, I've not played it and thought, for fuck's sake, like, what the hell? I spent $60 on that. I've not felt that. But now, like games like that have been not AAA, like AA and others. I have, like Recore, for instance. That's like to me like a AA game, and I've spent the $40 on that, and I thought, what the fuck? Like this game should have been like free with gold. So I mean, I've had more personally, I've had more of a negative experience, like as far as like the price worth of these AA games than I have the AAA games. But see, I mean, I don't hold the popular opinion like that some people do. Like there's some games that like a lot of people think is trash, but I mean, I seem to actually have enjoyed, like the Order 1886. I spent $60 on it whenever it came out, and I played through it, and I mean, I wasn't sitting there going, well, this game should have been fucking $20. Like I didn't complain about it at all. I was like, this is actually a fun game. I actually enjoyed it.
Right, and just like I like Quantum Break, a lot of people said that game was shit because they didn't understand where they were going when it came to quantum theory, which I thought was awesome. I got all the science side of that. I actually understood it, and that game was definitely not for somebody who doesn't understand that kind of thing, especially when they explain it in the game when they're talking about physicists and shit. It's like a lot of people want a game they can relate to, and I think that's one of the major reasons why Quantum Break failed, and that's also why the game that you liked failed. Was you liked The Order, but you also liked the other Microsoft exclusive that nobody really cared for. But you said it was a good game, Rise of Son of Rome.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I get it. I guess my viewpoint has come because I have been fucked over by $60 titles that were self-proclaimed AAA, right? And surprise, surprise, it's come from both Bethesda and Ubisoft mainly, and once in a blue moon, yeah. And that's why I'm so vehemently against it as a standard. That's because I feel like games nowadays are just being lazy, like they're being developed lazily because of the budget they have. They're not thirsty anymore. You know what I mean? Or at least that's what it feels like to me.
I guess I could go off and say like, if a game, I mean, I maybe like $60 being the standard if you like if if the production of the game and the making of the game had hit a certain point in dollars, like if it got to I mean I'm just throwing out numbers there. I haven't thought this through, but we're just say once the game hits like $100 million in production costs, then $60 title. If it's like anywhere from like say 750 to 100,000, 750 to 75,000 to 75 million to 100 million, then it's like say $50. And if it's 50 to 75, then whatever, kind of like a stair step in that. But I mean then again, I mean we would have to trust that these developers are actually spending the money, like actually either spending the money they're saying they're spending, or they're not like going out and trying to find like the golden toilet seat for $17 million just so that way they can say, hey, I spent $17 million versus like spending like $20 on the toilet seat, kind of basically like that. I mean, that it would be, I guess there would be a lot of I need to receive receipts type thing in that type of scenario, so that wouldn't really work either. But I mean, it's because it's kind of like you get what you pay for, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't had really like such a great time with these really cheap titles. I mean, sure they're fun, but like once I've played them, I don't ever recall ever going back and playing one of them again.
But here's the thing, though. That's where everything gets kind of skewed between both of our opinions. You're coming from at one angle. Mine is coming at it from another angle, and we're trying to add that to an ideal standard of what we believe the gaming industry should be headed towards.
Trying to feel like how we could both of us come out and be happy at the end.
Yeah, because we both agreed that there are indie games out there that we both played a good extent of over a AAA game that costs.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there's definitely grounds where we do agree. I think my major thing though is, in order for this to actually take place when it comes to consumers versus the developers and publishers, I think consumers should start becoming a little bit more choosy on what they purchase instead of just throwing money out just because it's a name that they recognize. When you look at the seasoned games like Call of Duty, the Assassin's Creed, they've always been met, at least since 2007, 2008, they've always been met with their problems, bugs, and all that good stuff. So
yeah.
And that's due to because they feel like there is a market there that they need to fill on a yearly basis, because there are people out there like I do. I purchase a Call of Duty every year. I think you're the Assassin's Creed nut, right? Like you like this. Yeah. So like there's definitely a market there. But I believe like if we can stop, like, and I mean everybody, it can't be one of those situations where I'm the only one doing it and then everybody else is like, hey, did you guys see the new Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty? I'm saying, like, I think everybody as a general sense should start, at least not this year or next year, but sometime soon, and while this gaming industry is still alive, to step up and just be like, no, we've had enough. I mean, that's kind of what they did with boots on the ground Call of Duty, right? Like they said, fuck the jetpacks with Infinity Warfare. Like they said, fuck this. They got tired of it. I mean, they had one of the biggest outcries against a game that I've never seen before in years. When Infinite Warfare came out, did you see that video? Like everybody spoke up against that. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think.
But the thing is, though, is that the outcry from Infinity War, or whatever, Infinite Warfare.
Infinity Warfare.
It did not. That's not what created World War II, because whenever the trailer for Infinite Warfare was being shown, World War II was already being worked on, because it's a 3-year cycle.
Yeah,
Call of Duty. Each Call of Duty is a 3-year cycle. So I mean, that was
it's been worked on since Advanced Warfare, and that was because Advanced Warfare was the first jetpack game, and a lot of people
were bitching. Yeah,
where people were bitching. Yeah, no, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's just I think personally, I think just we should see more of that on a much wider spectrum, like way wider spectrum. If we could get that on a wider spectrum, then I think our market would be a hell of a lot better for it. And I think it would actually make room for more people to come up and try to start their developing teams up and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that'd be good. And I know Kickstarter's doing really well. I know Patreons are doing really well. Bloodstained has like more than doubled its stretch goals. Like, I mean, I want to see more Kickstarters. I want to see more games like The Witcher 3 to come up and be like, hey, you know what? We're not exactly all for the consumer, but you know what? We got to make money too. So we want to make sure we're giving you what we believe is actually worth the price tag, versus just going off of some standard number that everybody else is doing and saying, yeah, it's worth 60, when we all know that no, not really. It's not really worth $60 now, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see like that, but I mean, like me, I freely admit that I actually have a problem, because
yeah, I know we both do. You're fine.
Knowledge. I mean, common sense and logic says that when 6 games release in one day, I can't play 6 games at one time. So, but me, I'll just look at it and go, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and buy all 6 of these games at one time on release day, or even pre-order over the period of time, because I'm buying them no matter what day one. So I mean, pre-ordering or buying day one, it doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't pre-order. If you're going to pre-order, if you're against pre-ordering but still buy day one, you're not doing anything differently. I mean, because
yeah,
you're still getting the money the exact same day.
Mm-hmm.
And so. But I mean, maybe instead of me buying 6 games, buy the one, play through that, get done with that, then go buy the other, play through that. But at that point, I mean, then it's so hard for me to do that, because now that I can buy these all the games, because then if I'm say if I bought Battlefield, I mean, we're just gonna use that, and I get bored with Battlefield, then I can jump because I say I bought Battlefield and Call of Duty and we're just gonna say Halo and Uncharted all came out in one day. If I bought them all in one day, the same in a couple of days, if I got bored of Battlefield, I can jump straight over to Call of Duty because I have it already, and start playing that. If I get bored of that, in maybe a couple of hours, jump over to Uncharted and start playing with that. Play that a few days, and then bam, I can jump right back to Halo, and that's instead of me having to go to the store every time, or even go onto the PlayStation store or Xbox store, and whenever I'm done with the game or whatever, and say, okay, well, now I'm gonna buy this game. Now I gotta wait for it to download, and then jump into it. It's already there, so that's the reason why I do it. Just so that way they're already there in my library, loaded, ready to go. Whenever I feel like playing it, I can jump back and forth between games if I want to. Because here lately, I very seldom will stick with one game from the start to the end and not play a single other game in between.
Yeah, I know, guys.
That would definitely help, though, with like what you said. If I would just buy the one and then buy the one I'm really most wanting, and then let the other ones, because hell, it might even save me money, because if the other ones end up failing in the reviews, and by the time I get around to picking up that sixth game, it might be 20% off because on digital, because of the fact of it bombed,
Mm-hmm.
And that might teach the developers more lesson too. I guess I could do that.
Yeah.
I probably won't, but I could. I'm honest with myself as far as like my limitations with my spending. That would be Brim. Snuggle.
I'm
here.
not sure if it's Brim. I'm here.
Yeah, no, it's here. Yeah, you guys, I'm going to bed soon. It's 11:42.
I'm sorry. We got to talking and.
No, it's good. No, it's good. I like it when we can run long and it's a conversation.
At least it was about games.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Nobody can bitch about that, right?
No, it was definitely about games.
The beginning was
Yeah, the beginning. Well, that's how.
Well, yeah, because we talked. Well, yeah, because we kind of talked about like what's happened through since our last time of talking, and
yeah. So real quick, before I close this out, anything you're going to be doing in the future, Rambo, or are you still like trying to get acclimated to your new surroundings?
I'm still trying to figure out like a schedule. Like now that my wife I think starts her job on Sunday, so once her schedule comes, then I can start seeing like what times are available for me and stuff like that. Then maybe I can start scheduling a time. But right now it's kind of going to be sporadic. It's just when I get a chance to get on there.
Bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, I might start streaming a little bit more, because then I don't really have to set up a video or think about a video. I can just maybe stream and then kind of get my thoughts on a topic that's kind of going on, but I can still be playing a gaming kind of entertaining people with a game. But I've been trying to get the stream shit to work, but I'm having problems with the whole getting all the bots and everything working on Mixer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Dro, I'll send you if you want, Dro. Just and this goes for anybody. If you guys want to get a hold of us when it comes to Hangout stuff, just add me on Google. Just go to my Google Plus for Brimstone's Gaming, add me, and I'll be sure to go in there and accept it. And that way, whenever I'm alive, I can just add you from my circles, and it'd be much easier for me to add you guys on. Because I know we're starting to use this. We're starting to use this again. I really don't want to, but yeah, we're on Hangouts, bro. Like, I really don't like this shit. It's garbage. I really don't like it. But hey, the show, like, this is the first time we've been able to stream this long. Yeah, well, it's the first time we've been able to stream this long and it not cut out on us. We're like, we have like 60 motherfuckers in here and they can't even watch us because guess what? Fucking Brimstone's net died because he's got another outage in his goddamn area. Or something stupid like that always seems to happen. So until we can find another way, Google Hangouts is just a temporary fix until we can get things set up. So on Google Plus, go to Brimstone's Gaming and then just add me up, and I'll be sure to accept it. So that way, the next time I'm live, I could just add you with a click of a button instead of going through all these different menus to add you to it. It's still a pain in the ass to deal with, but whatever. I mean, it's cool. If you guys like the show, please give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Snuggle, what happened to Discord? It's because OBS and my internet has been fucking Yeah, it's been. No, Discord didn't die. No, Discord didn't die. It was quite literally OBS not being able to connect. But
Yeah, I
we
think it was
Because
OBS was
is
causing too much strain on your
trash.
internet. OBS was causing too much strain on your internet with you having internet problems.
probably.
Yeah,
I would-
that's the only thing that can make sense with you being able to stream so long on this.
Right. All right. So go get real quick. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna end up doing YouTube, sir? Are you doing YouTube?
I've been doing YouTube for I don't know 5 years. So I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna continue doing that. So yeah.
So, but it's the same name that they could go see you in chat on to go to your channel, right?
Yeah, I use my channel to do everything.
Oh, okay. Well, just go ahead and after this thing goes live or whatever, just post your link in the comments, and I'll just heart it, and
I'll just type something random in the comments.
I'll get the people. I'll get the people to link over to you, sir. Same with Rambo. If you guys haven't done it yet, go sub to him.
The rags up off of Corn to Jay.
Right. So we're going to go ahead and leave for the night. I don't have any witty endings, unfortunately, other than that Go Get likes a ticket in the ass by crocodiles.
Yeah.
Oh.
God damn it. That was just too easy.
Yeah, he just
it
like, yeah,
was.
like,
Yeah.
sure, yeah, why not? I mean, that sounds good. Sounds fun.